Chapter 1903. Young hero, is what you said true? The heavenly sword sex Huchong revealed a shocked expression. Qin Feng cupped his hands and said, Elder Huchong, how could this junior lie in front of everyone? I can give you a bottle of void-breaking pills and an earth-level sword skill manual right now. The crowd gasped. They were shocked by Qin Feng's generosity. Qilin Mountain's Yibing felt like he had been slapped in the face by an invisible hand. Even if he had a pill stronger than the void-breaking pill, he couldn't use it to exchange for a trash-true artifact sword model. Not to mention he didn't even have an earth-level sword skill manual. Huchong did not plan to wait for Yibing to increase the price. He was originally a simple and honest person. He felt that a bottle of void-breaking pills and an earth-level sword skill manual were enough to exchange for the sword mold. He did not even think about the matter of someone else increasing the price. Okay, young hero, let's make a deal. Huchong was very straightforward and threw the sword model to Qin Feng. He wasn't afraid of the other party reneging on the deal, or not being able to take out the items. Qin Feng was very appreciative of this senior's character. He immediately took out a bottle of void-breaking pills and gave him a copy of the Invisible Blade Manual. Huchong opened the jade bottle and was shocked. It was actually a bottle of top-quality void-breaking pills. He glanced at the Invisible Blade again and determined that it was undoubtedly an Earth-level sword skills secret manual. Immediately, Huchong had a whole new level of respect for Qin Feng. This young hero really had a lot of treasures. He didn't even blink when he gave away these two items. Young hero, I am the Heavenly Sword Sect's little elder, Huchong. If you have time in the future, you can come visit the Heavenly Sword Sect. Huchong was very satisfied with this exchange. The crowd cried out in shock. They had already guessed from Huchong's actions that the pills and sword skill manual Qin Feng gave were not fake. That young hero is only at True Spirit Realm 6, he even has void-breaking pills? Moreover, he gave it away without any hesitation. Doesn't he think about his future breakthrough? Looking at his calm expression, I suspect he has more than one bottle of void-breaking pills. This cultivator is one of the wealthiest true spirit cultivators I've seen. Even some Hollow God Realm cultivators can't get their hands on Earth-level martial skill manuals. Qin Feng did not care about everyone's discussion. He cupped his hands and said to Huchong, Junior Qiao Feng, I will definitely visit if I have the chance. Good. Then I'll go first. Huchong's voice was still echoing above the square when his figure turned into a silver light and disappeared. Knowing that he had been gone for a while, many cultivators suddenly woke up and realized that Elder Huchong had already reached the late stage of Hollow God Realm. However, the plaza quickly calmed down. Everyone continued with the auction, throwing the matter of Qin Feng's slapping Yibing to the back of their minds. Yibing had retreated from the crowd long ago, but she didn't leave. She was hiding with her disciples in a corner of the plaza. The Qilin Mountain had sent out 6 people to explore, but now only 3 remained. The other 3 disciples had died in the 13 palaces. The 2 disciples that came out alive were not weak. One was at the peak of the True Spirit Realm and the other was in the 8th True Spirit Realm. They were coldly staring at Qin Feng on the square, continuously cursing him. Humph! Daring to offend our elder Yibing, that grandson must be tired of living. A trivial mid-True Spirit Realm trash. There's no need for Elder Yibing to make a move, I can kill him with one slash. These words were all for Yibing to hear. Yibing's face was about to freeze, but after a while, a cold smile appeared in her old eyes. Ha! So what if that brat obtained the sword model? In the end, it will still fall into this old man's hands. He seems to be quite rich, which is exactly what I want. The 2 disciples immediately understood Elder Yibing's intentions, and a playful look appeared in their eyes. Elder Yibing, let's keep an eye on that brat. When he goes to a place without people, we'll let him know the consequences of offending the Qilin Mountain. Qin Feng didn't know what Yibing's group was thinking, but even if he knew, he wouldn't care. He would even purposely go to a place without people and kill Yibing's group of 3. The auction on the square was still hot, but the next few dozen items couldn't enter Qin Feng's eyes. He realized that if he continued to waste time like this, he would waste all of his precious time. Old brother Chiao, I still feel that you bought that sword model at a loss. A bottle of void-breaking pills and an earth-level martial skill can be exchanged for a gold-grade spiritual treasure. Hao Yuelei felt that it wasn't worth it for Qin Feng. Qin Feng smiled and didn't explain. In everyone's eyes he had lost a lot, but in Qin Feng's eyes he had gained a lot. Senior Hao, I still want to gather a few refining materials. I wonder if there's any faster way to do it? Qin Feng even thought of using his true essence to shout, but he resisted in the end. There were tens of thousands of cultivators gathered on the square, with no lack of Hollow God Realm and Body Condensation Realm experts. There were even several dozen incomparably powerful auras. Qin Feng guessed that these people were at least cauldron-filling state experts. Old brother Chiao, this is simple. You just need to participate in the auction. If you have a rare treasure, everyone will fight to exchange it with you. You just need to shout out whatever refining materials you need. Hao Yuelei said. Qin Feng slapped his forehead. He had actually forgotten such a simple method. He only wanted to try his luck and wait for others to take out the materials he needed, but he forgot to look for them himself. Thank you for your guidance, Senior Hao. I will go to the auction now. Qin Feng disappeared into the crowd. Soon, his voice could be heard in the auction hall. There were no requirements to auction items here. One just needed to queue up and wait. Qin Feng then gave 10,000 upper-grade spirit stones to the person in charge of this auction, and the person in charge immediately placed him in the next auction slot. When Qin Feng went on stage, he felt hundreds of cold auras behind him. He thickened his face and pretended that he didn't feel the dissatisfaction of those cultivators. After all, he planned to leave as soon as the auction was over. There were many materials to create the sky rainbow. There were more than 10 main materials. Qin Feng had only collected broken moon stones and immortal flower stones. He had also just obtained a sword model of a true-grade spiritual treasure. He took out a bottle of void transformation pills. This was a level 6 rank 7 king pill. Even he couldn't refine it. He had obtained it from the storage ring of a few Hollow God Realm cultivators. I have a bottle of void transformation pills in my hand. I want to exchange it for a 1,000-year bird's feather. Is there anyone willing to exchange it? Qin Feng knew that the 1,000-year bird was a level 8 spirit bird. Its feather was as precious as the white spirit bird's feather. Therefore, Qin Feng wasn't confident that he could exchange a bottle of void transformation pills for a 1,000-year bird's feather. However, the moment he finished speaking, the crowd became restless. Isn't that the nouveau riche that angered Qilin Mountain's little elder Bing? He's really a nouveau riche. He even has a void transformation pill. That's a pill that early-stage Hollow God Realm cultivators need to break through. What's a 1,000-year bird's feather? If I have it, I will definitely exchange it with him. The 1,000-year bird is a level 8 spirit bird. It's one of the extremely rare spirit birds. Its feather is a level 8 material that can only be found by luck. Chapter 1904. Seeing the crowd's enthusiastic reaction, Qin Feng heaved a sigh of relief inwardly. He had many treasures and wasn't afraid of not being able to take out treasures. He was afraid that no one in the crowd could take out what he needed. Young hero Chiao, I'm stuck at the Hollow Spirit State level 3 bottleneck. The ethereal transformation pill is what I need urgently, but I don't have the 1,000-year bird's feather. I'm willing to trade with you for 5 million high-grade spirit stones and a low-grade cultivation artifact. What do you think? A man in his 50s spoke. Many people recognized him. He was the little elder of the 5-star sect Thousand City, Yunhe. The atmosphere that hadn't subsided exploded again. 5 million spirit stones and a low-grade cultivation artifact. This elder Yunhe is really generous. The void transformation pill is a type of tier 6 and tier 7 king pill. Putting aside the fact that the herbs required to refine this pill are extremely precious, there are only a few tier 6 and tier 7 pill kings in the entire South Flat continent. Elder Yunhe urgently needs the void transformation pill to break through, so it is understandable that he would offer such a price. I'm guessing that young hero Qiao will definitely trade with Elder Yunhe. Previously, he was willing to take out a void-breaking pill and an Earth-grade sword skill manual for a top-grade true artifacts sword model. Clearly, he is lacking a weapon. This time, Elder Yunhe directly took out a low-grade true artifact, which is exactly what young hero Qiao wants. Elder Yunhe is a thoughtful senior. Many people guessed that the deal was about to be made. Qin Feng said, "Sorry, senior, I need the 1,000-year bird's feather. I won't consider anything else for now." His words stunned the crowd. This result was out of everyone's expectations. How rare was a level 8 spirit bird? Those cultivators who wanted to trade for the ethereal transformation pill stopped. However, a voice sounded. "I have a 1,000-year bird's feather. I got it from the Spirit Beast Valley." Everyone looked at the cultivator who spoke. The man was wearing a black mask, and the mask was a low-grade cultivation artifact. It could even block the divine sense of cultivators below body condensation state. Qin Feng couldn't see the cultivator's appearance, but he checked his aura. He was a hollow spirit state late-stage expert. "Is Senior willing to trade?" Qin Feng suppressed his excitement and asked. "The ethereal transformation pill isn't very useful to me. If you can take out an Earth-grade sword skill manual, I can trade with you." The crowd clamored. Earth-grade cultivation methods and martial skills were extremely rare and precious. Earlier, Qin Feng had taken out an Earth-grade saber technique martial skill. In everyone's eyes, that was the highest grade martial skill he had. It was very likely that he only had one. Now, this masked expert who didn't want to show his face asked for an Earth-grade sword skill. His appetite was really big. However, just as everyone was waiting for Qin Feng to reject, they heard him say, "Fine. Deal." Qin Feng did not care about the shocked expressions of the crowd. He had already thrown the Void Transformation Pill and the Shadowless Sword Secret Manual to the other party. He had no use for the Void Transformation Pill. As for the Shadowless Sword and the Shadowless Saber, they were basically a set of cultivation techniques. Qin Feng did not care about them at all. When the item was in his hand, the masked male cultivator froze for a moment. Although no one could see his expression, they could see that his body froze for a moment. After coming back to his senses, the man immediately checked the elixir and secret manual. Very quickly, he put away both items and threw out a feather from blue like morning sky. The feather looked like a goose's feather, but it was glowing with a blue light. When the feather flew across the sky, it looked like it was dyed blue with paint. This miraculous scene caused the crowd to exclaim in surprise. The 1,000-year bird's feather was a rank 8 refining material, and it contained a miraculous energy that ordinary cultivators couldn't comprehend. The weapon Qin Feng used to kill Lin Shi in the 7th Palace was a rank 9 spiritual herb, 9-leaf banana. When the 1,000-year bird's feather touched his hand, Qin Feng immediately felt that his palm was dyed blue. However, when he took the feather away, the blue color also disappeared. Qin Feng immediately concluded that this was a genuine 1,000-year bird's feather. There was a huge mysterious energy hidden in it that even Qin Feng could not understand. Without much time to think, Qin Feng put the feather into the system. At this time, he had collected another main material needed to forge the immortal artifact, Heavenly Rainbow. As soon as the transaction was completed, the masked male cultivator disappeared. The big square was noisy. Many cultivators had not woken up from the 1,000-year bird's feather and the Void Transformation Pill. Ordinary cultivators would only auction one treasure and then leave the stage. However, Qin Feng had no intention of leaving. He pondered for a moment and took out a new treasure. "I have a bottle of Earth Spirit Pills and 5 Spirit Crystals. I need to exchange them for an orange thunderstone. If you want to exchange, hurry up." When the new item was taken out, it caused another commotion in the crowd. Previously, everyone could tell that Qin Feng was a nouveau riche cultivator, but now they realized how rich he was. "This guy even has spirit crystals? That's a gem that was born with a spirit quintessence pond. It seems like he found a spirit quintessence pond. Or a spirit pill?" Is it that miraculous pill that can allow cultivators without spiritual roots to have an earth's spiritual root? What's an orange thunderstone? An orange thunderstone is a rare treasure. It's an orange thunderstone that is formed from the burning of a rank 9 thunderbird's spirit core. May I ask how many people in the South Pingzhou state can kill a rank 9 thunderbird? It's even a question if anyone has seen an orange thunderstone. Actually, Qin Feng really didn't know what an orange thunderstone was. He just saw that it was among the refining materials for the immortal artifact, Heaven Rainbow. Now that he heard the crowd's discussion, he was instantly speechless. Who would dare to make an orange thunderstone after a rank 9 thunderbird's death? As expected, after the crowd discussed for a while, no one came to exchange with him. However, through everyone's discussion about the Earth Spirit Pill, Qin Feng realized something. It seemed like the news of the Spirit Surge Pill appearing in the North Sand continent hadn't spread to the South Pingzhou state. Or rather, only a few South Pingzhou cultivators knew about the Spirit Surge Pill, but they purposely blocked the news from spreading. Otherwise, the medicinal properties of the Spirit Surge Pill were dozens of times better than the Earth's Spirit Pill. Moreover, the cultivators on the plaza couldn't even move after seeing the Earth's Spirit Pill. If they knew that there was a miraculous pill like the Spirit Surge Pill, they would probably rush up to snatch it. Qin Feng couldn't help but feel a lingering fear. Fortunately, he was careful and took out the Earth Spirit Pill to test the waters. If he took out the Spirit Surge Pill directly, the consequences would be unimaginable. Seeing that no one came out to exchange for the Orange Thunderstone, Qin Feng said, "If you don't have an Orange Thunderstone, you can use a Radiant Stone to exchange." At the mention of the Radiant Stone, a new round of discussion broke out in the plaza. What the hell is a Radiant Stone? Why do I feel that this young hero is so young, but his horizons are even broader than mine, a Nihility God intermediate stage cultivator? The Radiant Stone is also a rare gem. I heard that it is extremely beneficial to cultivators with fire attribute spiritual roots or those who cultivate fire attribute cultivation techniques. As for where he got it from, I have no idea. Young hero Qiao, I have a Radiant Stone. Do you want to exchange for it? This time, someone stood out. With a wave of his hand, a stone that emitted a dazzling sunlight flew into Qin Feng's hand. When the stone landed in his hand, Qin Feng felt a scorching aura. Alright, I want this Radiant Stone. Although it was his first time seeing a Radiant Stone, Qin Feng could tell that this stone was genuine. He immediately kept the Radiant Stone in his star ring and threw the Earth's Spirit Pill and 5 Spirit Crystals to that person. Qin Feng was elated to obtain another material to forge a Heaven Rainbow immortal artifact. He thought that if he continued to gather at this speed, he would probably be able to gather all the materials in a day. However, just as this thought appeared in his mind, dozens of powerful divine senses swept over. Qin Feng immediately felt a chill down his spine. He felt as though he was being peeped on. These divine senses were of different realms, but the lowest cultivation was at the Nihility God intermediate stage. There were even a few divine senses that Qin Feng couldn't see through that swept over him. He didn't even have a chance to resist and could only let those powerful divine senses sweep over him. Qin Feng knew that if he absorbed all the soul crystals in the soul nurturing array, his divine sense would improve tremendously. At that time, would he be able to resist the sweep of these powerful divine senses? However, this clearly wasn't the time to think about that. Qin Feng immediately understood that these divine senses were targeting him. He was focused on exchanging for more materials, but he had neglected to keep a low profile. A true spirit intermediate stage cultivator casually took out something that even Nihility God realm cultivators coveted. It was no wonder that these people were greedy. After realizing this serious problem, Qin Feng didn't plan to continue the auction. Even if he gathered all the materials to forge a Heaven Rainbow immortal artifact, he might not be able to live to forge it. Young hero Qiao, what other treasures do you have? Hurry up and take them out! The cultivators in the square were roused by him, and their eyes were filled with anticipation. Qin Feng jumped off the stage and said with a smile, "I'm just a mere true spirit cultivator, how could I have so many good treasures on me?" The ones in front are already all of my treasures, and they were obtained by luck in the 13 palaces. The crowd sighed, and many people believed his words. However, there were also some who were suspicious and kept an eye on Qin Feng's actions. Qin Feng wasn't in a hurry to leave. He knew that countless cultivators were watching him, so he had to think of a way to escape before leaving. Old brother Qiao, your performance just now was too outstanding. It's best to be careful. Hao Yuele also saw the problem and reminded him in a low voice. Qin Feng nodded gratefully at him and cupped his fists. Senior Hao, we will meet again. Hao Yuele hesitated. He wanted to leave with Qin Feng. After all, he was at the peak of the true spirit realm and could help Qin Feng a little. However, before he could make a decision, he found that Qin Feng had already left with Yuanqiu. He immediately felt ashamed and guessed that Qin Feng didn't want to implicate him. As soon as they left the square, Qin Feng took out his flying sword and rushed into the distant sky with Yuanqiu. After flying for several kilometers, there were already more than a dozen people chasing after them. Qin Feng didn't even think about it, and immediately changed his flying sword to the flying cloud all. A silver light flickered in the sky. The flying cloud all was a product of Star Saint technology, and it was comparable to a high-grade true artifact airship on the Divine Continent. Qin Feng added 5 spirit crystals to the flying cloud all to increase the airship's speed to the limit. Chapter 1905. He looked like he was running for his life. Yuanqiu frowned and asked, Brother Qiao Feng, what happened? Yuanqiu's strength was average, so she couldn't sense the auras chasing after her. Qin Feng said while piloting the soaring cloud all. Someone is chasing after me. They probably saw that I had so many treasures at the auction and want to rob me. Huh! These cultivators are too shameless. They're actually doing this kind of shady business. Yuanqiu had always been painstakingly cultivating in the sect. This expedition to the 13 palaces was one of the few times she had experienced it. She still didn't have a thorough understanding of how sinister people could be. When the soaring cloud all's speed reached its limit, the auras behind him were quickly pulled away. After 2 incense sticks of time, only 3 auras were still chasing after him. Qin Feng couldn't see through these 3 auras. They were at least at the body condensation realm, or even cauldron-filling realm. If they caught up to him, he would most likely die. However, Qin Feng gradually calmed down. He discovered that the 3 people's aircraft were only high-grade true artifacts, and their quality wasn't as high as his. Moreover, Qin Feng used 5 spirit crystals to accelerate the soaring cloud all, so the distance between them gradually widened. At that moment, Yi Bing and the other 2 disciples of the Qilin Mountain, who were guarding outside the plaza, saw a silver light fly over their heads. When they tried to chase after it, they discovered that they couldn't even see the shadow of the soaring cloud all. So fast! That flying magic treasure is at least a high-grade true artifact. Oh no, that Qiao brat escaped! The 2 disciples made a ruckus. Yi Bing's face was cold. He had been waiting for Qin Feng outside the plaza for more than an hour, but he still managed to escape. Humph! That brat is lucky. Otherwise, he would have died in my hands. Let's go back to the sect first. We'll destroy that ant sooner or later. After flying for a day and a night with the help of 5 spirit crystals, Qin Feng finally relaxed. He was sure that he had lost all the people chasing after him. At that moment, a blue light streaked across the sky and flew in the direction of the soaring cloud all. Qin Feng, who had just relaxed, became vigilant again. Brother Qiao Feng, that should be a flying sword messenger, Yuanqiu reminded him. It didn't take Qin Feng long to notice that it was indeed a ray of sword light. Moreover, he recognized it as the White Deer Sect's flying messenger sword. When he thought of White Deer Sect, Qin Feng immediately flew out of the cabin and put away the flying sword. If it wasn't for Divination Jin helping him obtain a spot to enter the 13 palaces, he wouldn't be where he was today. The flying sword burned on its own in the cabin, and a paragraph of text appeared in the air. White Heron Sect is in trouble. Benefactor, please don't come, don't miss me. This was obviously a flying sword letter sent by Bo Swanjan. When Qin learned that the White Deer sect was in trouble, the first thing he thought of was the 5-star sect's god's finger. Back then, the god's finger's little elder, Shinshuhin, had gone to the White Deer sect to ask for a spot, but was rejected by sect master Bo Sui. Now, Shinshuhin was no longer in this world. Even Shinmou, the great elder of God One Finger, had died at Qin Feng's hands. Not to mention the only son of God One Finger's sect leader, Shen Wuxing. This conflict definitely had something to do with Qin Fen. He wasn't someone who was afraid of death. When he learned that the White Deer sect was in trouble, he immediately changed directions and rushed to the White Deer sect. Qin Fen didn't know where he was, and even Yu Wanqiu couldn't recognize him. However, Qin Fen knew that the White Deer sect was in the outer area of Panshan Market, and it would take him at least a day and a night to rush back. Being impatient was not a solution, so Qin Fen gradually calmed down. He couldn't help but think of the ghost city that Cui Qing had mentioned. Sister Wanqiu, do you know about the ghost city? When Cui Qing mentioned the ghost city, Qin Fen noticed that Yu Wanqiu's expression changed greatly. Now that ghost city was mentioned again, Yu Wanqiu's expression changed again. She seemed to be very afraid of that place. Little brother Qiao Feng, don't go to the ghost city. It is one of the South Flat Continent's 8 great danger zones, and rumor has it that it is the most dangerous place. Many cultivators who go there to explore have died. Qin Fen was shocked. He had already been to one of the 8 great danger zones, the 13 palaces, so he knew how dangerous the 13 palaces were. He and Yu Wanqiu had only entered the 8th palace, and they were already unable to advance. If they went to the 9th palace or higher, they might die instantly. The ghost city was even more dangerous than the 13 palaces. Qin Fen found it hard to imagine what kind of place it was. However, after a short moment of shock, Qin Fen calmed down. He was going to the danger zones that had precious treasures. Although danger lurked everywhere, it was also accompanied by endless opportunities. Sister Wanqiu, tell me the history of the ghost city in detail, Qin Fen said. Yu Wanqiu revealed a worried expression. She knew that Qin Fen was tempted by the ghost city, and she understood Qin Fen even better. She knew that there was no point in trying to persuade him. After sighing, Yu Wanqiu slowly said, I've only heard about it. Rumor has it that the ghost city was originally a holy land for cultivation in the South Flat Continent. It was called the Spirit Fog City, and it got its name because of the lingering spirit fog that floated in the city. Later, a precious treasure appeared in the Spirit Fog City, and some people even said that it was an immortal artifact. For a time, the Spirit Fog City was engulfed in smoke, and all sorts of powerful cultivators went there to search for that immortal artifact. In the end, there were countless casualties, and the majestic Spirit Fog City turned into ruins. For some reason, the dense spirit chi in the Spirit Fog City disappeared, and it gradually became a cultivation wasteland, and no one cared about it. However, a few hundred years ago, someone accidentally entered the ghost city and brought out many treasures. After asking around, we found out that those treasures were the weapons and treasures of the powerful cultivators who died in the Spirit Fog City. As a result, countless cultivators formed teams to explore the Spirit Fog City, but they gradually realized that almost none of them came out, let alone found any treasures inside. No one dared to go to the city again, and it was shrouded in a gloomy fog at night, so people changed its name to the Ghost City. Qin Fen didn't expect the Ghost City to have such a history. After understanding the situation, he became even more interested in the Ghost City. Although what Yu Wanqiu said was all hearsay, Qin Fen felt that part of the story was true. If an immortal artifact really appeared in the Spirit Fog City, was it still there? Brother Qiao Feng, although there are still rumors that there are precious treasures in the Ghost City, very few cultivators from the South Flat Continent go there to explore. It's best if you don't go, Yu Wanqiu advised. Qin Fen had already decided to go to the Ghost City to take a look when he had the time, but in order to not worry Yu Wanqiu, he nodded in agreement. He changed the topic. By the way, Sister Wanqiu, do you know about the Spirit Beast Valley? Yu Wanqiu looked at him in surprise. Ever since she met Qin Fen, Yuanqiu felt that he was not from the South Flat Continent. There were many places that everyone knew, but Qin Fen did not. Hee. I was just asking casually. If Sister Yuanqiu doesn't know, then forget it. Qin Fen realized that he might have said the wrong thing and quickly laughed. Yuanqiu didn't ask anymore. After adjusting her emotions, she said, "The Spirit Beast Valley is a sacred place for spirit beasts in the South Flat Continent. There are many spirit beasts in that valley, and it is occupied by spirit beasts." The reason Qin Fen asked about the Spirit Beast Valley was because the man wearing the low-grade true artifact mask said that he obtained the 1,000-year bird's feather in the Spirit Beast Valley. Qin Fen still lacked the level 9 Thunderbird Spirit Pill, which was the orange Thunderstone. He thought that he could go to the Spirit Beast Valley to try his luck and see if there were any traces of the Thunderbird. The Spirit Beast Valley must be a place with dense spirit chi. It is the best choice to establish a sect base. Why is it occupied by spirit beasts? Qin Fen was puzzled. Yuanqiu rolled her eyes and once again suspected that Qin Fen was not a cultivator from the South Flat Continent. Because the spirit beasts in the Spirit Beast Valley are of very high levels. The lowest level is a level 7 spirit beast, and there are even level 9 spirit beasts. Qin Fen came to a realization. When he found the 3-leaf devil ginseng on the 7th floor of the 13 palaces, he met Lin Shi and the thunder leopard that guarded the devil ginseng. That thunder leopard was only a level 7 spirit beast, but its strength was comparable to a middle stage or late stage void god realm cultivator. If it was a level 8 spirit beast, it would probably have a body condensation realm cultivation. As for level 9 spirit beasts, Qin Fen couldn't comment on them for now. Immediately, Qin Fen put aside the matter of finding the Thunderbird. The Thunderbird was a level 9 spirit beast, and it was a Thunder-type spirit beast. With his current strength, he would only be courting death if he went. The two of them chatted for a while more before Qin Fen went to a resting room and started his seclusion. This time, he collected more than 3,000 soul crystals from the 8th palace and planned to absorb them properly. When hundreds of soul crystals were placed around him, a powerful divine sense aura rose in the resting room that was over 30 square meters. This divine sense had already lost its intelligence, and was drifting in the room like a gas. Qin Fen immediately opened his sea of consciousness, and frantically absorbed the divine sense aura in the room. He realized that the absorption process was very smooth, and it was as simple as absorbing spirit chi with his body. After half an hour, more than 100 soul crystals were completely absorbed. The soul crystals that were originally as shiny as black agate became dim and finally scattered like fossils in the wind. Qin Fen did not care about the used-up soul crystals and immediately took out more than 100 new soul crystals. He felt that his sea of consciousness was rapidly expanding, and the strength of his divine sense was constantly increasing. This feeling was even more gratifying than breaking through a realm. Rumble! After more than 100 new soul crystals were completely absorbed, there was a loud noise in Qin Fen's mind. The aura in his sea of consciousness was tumbling, and when it calmed down, his entire sea of consciousness seemed to have doubled in size. The divine sense that Qin Fen released was even more extensive. The divine sense that was like an illusory magnetic field became clearer, and he felt that if he continued to strengthen it, it would condense into a solid substance. Qin Fen suddenly realized that the sea of consciousness also had a high and low realm. Perhaps it was because the Divine Supreme Continent's cultivators' realms were too low, so they had not noticed this problem. Or perhaps some almighty cultivators had realized that the sea of consciousness could break through, but they did not know how to define the realm of the sea of consciousness. More than 200 soul crystals had improved Qin Fen's sea of consciousness by a realm. He immediately wanted to continue devouring soul crystals, but he heard Yuanqiu's voice coming from the door. "Little brother Qiaofeng, the White Deer sect has arrived. Should we land the flying cloud cone and go in?" Qin Fen could only temporarily put away his thoughts and walked out of the room, saying, "Let's go! We'll go to the White Deer sect to solve the problem." Chapter 1906. The flying cloud all landed on the ground and was put back into Qin Fen's star ring. Qin Fin sensed that something was wrong when he stood outside the White Deer sect's gate. He remembered that there were 6 disciples guarding the gate the last time he came, but he couldn't see anyone now. Brother Chiao Feng, the White Deer sect seems to be in trouble. When they entered the courtyard, Yu Wenqiu frowned. The ground was full of dried blood. It seemed that a fierce battle had taken place recently. They walked around the outer courtyard but didn't see anyone. The two of them immediately rushed to the inner courtyard. As soon as they entered a stone house, 2 sword lights shot out. Fortunately, the sword chi wasn't very powerful. It should be the attack of a late-stage true spirit cultivator. Qin Fin and Yu Wenqiu jumped lightly and dodged the sword chi. Yu Wenqiu immediately took out the soft sword at her waist and tried to fight back, but Qin Fin blocked her with a palm. When the 2 powerful auras exploded in the house, Qin Fin had already rushed to the 3 people hiding in the corner. Brother Bo, what's going on? It turned out that Bo Xuanjun had attacked. He thought that God's finger had returned. When he saw Qin Fin, Bo Xuanjun's expression changed. He immediately pushed Qin Fin and shouted, Brother Chiao, didn't I send you a flying sword message? Why did you come back? Qin Fin realized that God's finger had already come to the White Deer sect and started a massacre. If Bo Xuanjun could still persuade him to leave at this time, it was clear that he was a good person. A man and a woman stood behind Bo Xuanjun. The woman was Bo Xuanjun's partner, Yang Tao. She had gone to Coiling Dragon Mountain with Qin Fin to search for treasures. The other man looked a bit older than Bo Xuanjun, but he was seriously injured and his aura was extremely unstable. Young hero Chiao, listen to Bo Xuanjun and hurry up and leave. Otherwise, you and your friends will be implicated. Yang Tao also tried to persuade him. The older man coldly snorted. Humph! If it weren't for this guy, would Sect Master Bo Xuanjun have fallen? Would our White Deer sect have been exterminated? Instead of thinking about revenge, you guys care about that brat's life. How can Sect Master Bo Xuanjun rest in peace? Qin Fin's expression changed. Sect Master Bo Xuanjun had fallen? The scene of Bo Zi giving him the jade token of the 13 palaces appeared in his mind as if it was only yesterday. Now that he came to White Deer sect again, they were already separated from each other. Brother Bu, what's going on? A ball of anger ignited in Qin Feng's heart. The last thing he wanted was to see others implicated because of him. Bo Xuanjun tried to persuade Qin Feng for a while, but Qin Feng had no intention of leaving. He sighed and said, Sigh. Young hero Chiao, just 3 days ago, Sect Master One Finger sent many elders to attack White Deer sect. Those elders are all Void God Realm powerhouses, and White Deer sect only has Sect Master Bo Yi who has stepped into the Void God Realm. He's not a match for them at all. Afterwards, Sect Master Bo Yi led the disciples of the White Heron sect to resist, but to no avail. He lost his life within the sect, and the disciples either fled or died. Now, only Yang Tao, senior brother Bo Ti, and I are left in the huge White Heron sect. Only then did Qin Fen know the old man's identity. He was one of the great elders of White Deer sect, Bo Ti. Qin Fen remembered that sect leader Bo Yi planned to let Bo Ti and Bo Xuanjun lead 2 disciples to explore the 13th palace. However, because he wanted to take one of the spots, White Deer sect offended Finger of God. So sect leader Bo Yi gave up on the idea of going to the 13th palace because he was afraid of Finger of God's revenge. He didn't expect Finger of God's revenge to come, and it was so fierce that it destroyed White Deer sect. Bo Ti complained. Humph. It's clearly not like this, why don't you tell us the truth? Bo Xuanjun said with a troubled expression. Senior brother Bo Ti, since the situation is over, what's the point of arguing about right and wrong? Let young hero Chiao go. After all, he saved me and Yang Tao. Bo Ti opened his mouth, but in the end, he swung his sleeves angrily and didn't say anything. Qin Fen's curiosity was piqued. He cupped his fists at Bo Ti and said, Elder Bo Ti, if you have something to say, please say it. This time, Bo Ti couldn't hold it in anymore. He stared coldly at Qin Fen and shouted, If it wasn't for you, sect leader Bo Yi wouldn't have died, and White Deer sect wouldn't have been destroyed. 3 days ago, Finger of God and a group of Hollow God Realm Great Elders came to White Deer's sect and wanted to take you away. You weren't even in White Deer's sect, so Finger of God used this as an excuse to start a massacre. Now you're a coward. Qin Fen understood. It seemed that White Deer's sect's destruction was really because of him. He also knew that Finger of God wanted to destroy White Deer's sect not because White Deer's sect didn't hand him over, but because Finger of God wanted to vent his anger. This time, all the cultivators that Finger of God sent to explore the 13 palaces were killed, including the only son of God, 5 elements. God of God must have been angry after learning of his son's death, so he decided to attack White Deer's sect. After analyzing the cause of the matter, Qin Fen felt very guilty. White Deer's sect had been kind to him, but he had accidentally harmed the sect. Senior brother Bo Ti, don't say anything. This matter can't be blamed on young hero Qiao. In fact, I can see that even without young hero Qiao's excuse, Finger of God would still want to destroy White Deer's sect. However, it's hard to understand why they started a massacre just because of the quota. Bo Ti immediately stopped talking. In fact, he also couldn't figure out the reason. But just as the atmosphere became silent, Bo Ti and the other two's expressions changed. They looked at the two Finger of God who had appeared out of nowhere. Their eyes were filled with anger and nervousness. Ha ha! Senior brother Shinfei, didn't I say that not everyone from White Deer's sect died? We came back suddenly this time, so we should be able to find many treasures. One of them, a slightly younger old man in a gray robe, was laughing maniacally. Next to him was an old man in a black robe. His aura was so strong that Bo Ti and the other two almost couldn't breathe. A house full of true spirit ants. This White Deer sect is indeed a 4-star sect. Their disciples are so weak that I don't even have the desire to attack. The junior brother in the gray robe smiled. Senior brother Shinfei, why do you need to attack these ants? Let junior brother kill them. As he said that, the old man in the gray robe stretched out his finger and a white sword light shot out in the house. When the old man attacked, Bo Ti and the other two were in despair. It was obvious that the old man had stepped into the empty god realm. However, the moment of death still hadn't arrived. They heard a loud explosion from the house and heard the old man in the gray robe scream. The three of them immediately looked over and were stunned by what they saw. The empty god realm elder from God's one finger was lying in a pool of blood. His eyes were filled with shock and fear. His aura was quickly dissipating. Clearly he was dead. What is going on? Bo Ti's eyes stared at the ground. Bo Ti and Yang Tao couldn't answer his question because they didn't see what had happened. At this moment, the expression of the old man in the black robe changed, and he looked at Qin Feng with caution. Did you kill junior brother Shinchi? In the house, only Qin Feng seemed to have attacked. Even Shinfei didn't see what had happened. He only felt that Qin Feng's consciousness had suddenly become stronger. Bo Ti and the other two looked at Qin Feng in shock. Especially Bo Xuanzhen and Yang Tao, the two of them had gone to Coiled Dragon Mountain with Qin Feng 3 months ago. Among the 7 people in the team, Qin Feng was the weakest. He was still at Buddha Light Realm. Bo Ti and Yang Tao hadn't noticed before. Now, they realized that Qin Feng had stepped into True Spirit Realm 6 and could even kill a empty God Realm cultivator with one move. Even though the truth was right in front of them, they couldn't accept it. Yu Wanqiu was already used to Qin Feng killing an early-stage empty God Realm cultivator. She said to Shinfei with a cold expression, "Your junior brother attacked us as soon as he arrived. He deserved to be killed by brother Qiao Feng. If you don't leave, you'll end up the same way." Shinfei realized that his junior brother had really been killed by the unremarkable young man in front of him. He was shocked. When he looked at Qin Feng again, he realized that he was only a True Spirit Realm 6 cultivator. He didn't know how he had killed junior brother Shinchi, who was at Empty God Realm level 1. At the same time, Shinfei checked Yu Wanqiu's cultivation. She was at the peak stage of the True Spirit Realm, but she was a True Spirit Realm 6 cultivator. Shinfei couldn't understand her behavior. He dared to kill an elder of God's one finger. How can this matter be settled so easily? Although he was a little scared, Shen Fei still pretended to be calm. If he ran away with his tail between his legs, he would lose face, not to mention the punishment from the god's one-finger sect leader. Qin Feng ignored Shen Fei's words. After he killed Shen Qi, he had a thoughtful expression on his face. When he killed Shen Qi, he did not use any quintessential essence. Instead, he used his divine sense to kill Shen Qi. However, he did not expect that he would be able to instantly kill a hollow god stage level 1 revered cultivator with his divine sense technique. Qin Feng quickly realized that this was not only because he had cultivated the soul cultivation technique, but also because he had absorbed more than 200 soul crystals, which allowed his sea of consciousness to break through. He wasn't sure how strong his divine sense was now, but he had a rough estimate. At the very least, he didn't need to worry about a divine sense attack from a void god realm late-stage cultivator. Qin Feng was overjoyed when he grasped the basics of the divine sense attack. His gaze suddenly fell on Shen Fei, and a cold light shot out of his eyes. So what if you're just a little elder of God's one finger? I've killed him! I can tell you another secret. Your little elder Shen Shuhen, head elder Shen Mou, and young master Shen Wuxing were all killed by me in the 13 palaces. Qin Feng's words shocked everyone. Both Xuanzhen and Yang Tao were shocked, as if this was their first day meeting him. Now, God's one finger had issued a wanted order to capture the criminal who killed Shen Wuxing. Moreover, there was a very generous reward. Even Shen Fei was attracted by the generous reward and had been looking for the murderer for the past few days. However, now that the murderer was right in front of him, he wanted to retreat. You dared to kill young Master Shen Wuxing? Just you wait. The God's one-finger sect leader won't let you off. Shen Fei threw out some harsh words and immediately took out his flying sword to escape. Although he was already at Void God Realm level 3, he didn't have the confidence to face Qin Feng. This young man who was only at True Spirit Realm level 6 was too strange. Not only did he kill Shen Qi, he even killed Shen Mou. Chapter 1907. You want to run? Do you think you can run? Qin Feng shouted angrily, but he didn't do anything. Everyone was confused. Shen Fei, who had flown far away, suddenly stopped. The flying sword under his feet had already flown far away, and his body seemed to be frozen in the air. Qin Feng was overjoyed. He had intentionally tried to trap Shen Fei with his divine sense attack. He didn't expect it to work. At this moment, he thought of the imprisonment strike through the divine sense attack. Suddenly, countless fragments of white light appeared in his mind. Those fragments merged on their own, and he felt like he had an epiphany. Qin Feng realized that the principles of divine sense shackle and shackle strike were the same, and these two methods were based on the understanding of realm. Not long ago, he had comprehended realm to small success, and now he had consolidated the concept of realm to the point where he could release it freely. In an instant, Qin Feng understood many things. No wonder ordinary cultivators understood realm very late. They were at least in the middle and late stages of the Hollow God realm. This was because the attack of realm was actually a divine sense attack. Divine sense only began to become powerful at the Hollow God realm. Only when one reached the body condensation realm could he form a divine sense attack. However, Qin Feng realized that although he had restrained Shen Fei, he couldn't kill him with a divine sense attack. This was because when he killed Shen Qi had underestimated him and didn't have the self-protection of the Sea of Consciousness. Now that Shen Fei realized that Qin Feng's divine sense was extremely powerful, he immediately sealed the Sea of Consciousness. The protective barrier of the Sea of Consciousness was very strong, and Qin Feng's divine sense couldn't cut through it easily. In the end, you will die too. It's just that the way you die is different. Qin Feng shouted and stabbed the silver spear in his hand. The dragon quake spear roared and shot out thousands of silver rays in the air. When the dense spear rays approached, Shen Fei's eyes were filled with fear and shock. Even if he chose to escape, it wasn't because he was afraid of Qin Feng. He just didn't want to fight to the point where both sides were injured. It was better to return to the sect and report the situation to the sect leader. When the time came, the sect leader God One Finger would personally take action, and he would also receive a generous reward. However, when Qin Fen attacked with the spear, Shen Fei realized that he was very wrong. He was much weaker than Qin Fen, and Qin Fen could even kill him in an instant. Rumble! There was a loud sound in the sky. It was too late for Shen Fei to realize this. His body exploded like fireworks. Bo Swanjin and the other two could not come back to their senses for a long time. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. They knew Shen Fei's strength very well. 3 days ago, it was this guy who led a group of elders and disciples of God's One Finger to attack White Deer Sect. Even Sect Master Bo Yi died in his hands. Young hero Qiao Yu, what's your current cultivation level? After a long time, Bo Swanjin finally came to his senses. Yang Tao and Bo Ti stared at him, obviously eager to know the result. Big brother Boo, don't be agitated. I'm only in the 6th true spirit realm. It was pure luck that I was able to kill Shen Fei and Shen Qi. Qin Feng awkwardly scratched his head. The three of them rolled their eyes. They didn't believe Qin Feng's explanation. Those were two empty God realm powerhouses. How could they be killed by luck? Seeing that Qin Feng didn't want to explain, the three of them didn't pursue the matter. Instead, Bo Ti suddenly looked at Qin Feng with a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Young hero Qiao, since you're so strong, you must take revenge for sect leader Bo Ti. He gave you a jade token of the 13 palaces for free before he died. He didn't need Bo Ti to tell him about revenge. Qin Feng also planned to go to God's One Finger. After all, he had killed God's Finger's elders and young master Shen Wuxing. Even if he didn't find trouble with God's Finger, he believed that God's Finger would come after him. Bo Swanjin said worriedly. Senior brother Bo Ti, although young hero Qiao killed Shen Fei is only at the early stage of the empty God realm. Rumor has it that God's Finger is at the late stage of the empty God realm. Young hero Qiao will just die if he goes. Bo Ti's face turned cold and he didn't say anything. He felt that junior brother Bo Swanjin was always helping outsiders. Qin Feng saw that his senior brother and junior brother were about to turn against each other. He immediately smiled and said, Elder Bo Ti, don't worry. I'm planning to go to God's Finger. Whether it's to take revenge for White Deer Sect or for my own safety in the future, I will kill God's Finger. His words silenced everyone. God's Finger was the sect leader of a 5-star sect. He was a late stage of the empty God realm, but Qin Feng said that he was an ant that could be killed easily. In fact, Qin Feng said this to make everyone feel at ease. The most powerful person he had killed was Lin Shi, a genius disciple of the 7-star sect Gu Xiaoyao. Lin Shi's cultivation was at empty God realm level 4, but his power was comparable to an ordinary late stage of the empty God realm. Qin Feng was able to kill him in that battle because he had used the Ghost Face Soul Banner, Imprisonment, and 100-mile light sniper. Even though his divine sense had improved, he wouldn't underestimate the existence of a late stage of the empty God realm. Since he had made a decision, Qin Feng wasn't one to procrastinate. He told Bo Swanjin and the other two to recuperate in the sect and wait for good news while he brought Yu Wanqiu to God's Finger. Qin Feng didn't even want to bring Yu Wanqiu along. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to protect her if they encountered trouble. However, Yu Wanqiu insisted on coming, so Qin Feng could only bring her along. God's Finger was also a sect in the outskirts of Panshan Market. It was less than 250 kilometers away from White Deer Sect. In just an hour, Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu landed outside God's Finger. At this moment, God's Finger was bustling with activity. From the city gates, one could see many disciples gathered in the outer courtyard. These disciples were comparing the treasures in their hands. Judging from their words, these were the treasures they obtained after killing White Deer Sect disciples. Aside from the treasures, there was also a group of female cultivators tied up in the outer courtyard. They were naked and thrown under a tree like livestock. If a male cultivator was interested, he could casually drag a female cultivator to a room in the outer courtyard to deal with them. Yu Wanqiu was also a woman, so she was enraged when she saw this scene. Qin Feng glanced around and saw a few familiar faces among the female cultivators. He had seen those female disciples the first time he went to the White Deer sect to ask for the jade card. Who are you two? This is the God's Finger, a 5-star sect. Unrelated people should leave immediately. The disciples guarding the gate quickly saw Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu. A few of them looked at Yu Wanqiu and sighed inwardly at her absolute beauty. However, they only dared to sneak a few glances when they sensed her powerful aura. They did not reveal the darkness in their hearts on the spot. In the Panshan market area, there were only a few 5-star sections. Thus, the disciples of God's One Finger were all arrogant and despotic. The guards could tell that Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu were both at the true spirit realm. Otherwise, they would have used force instead of persuading them to leave. They did not make a move, but Yu Wanqiu shouted and drew the flexible sword at her waist. She knew very well that God's Finger was here to exterminate Qin Feng's sect, so there was no need to say anything else. Whoosh! The sword broke the void. This was the first time Qin Feng had time to observe Yu Wanqiu's moves. This woman's sword technique was quite mysterious. The seemingly soft sword technique instantly formed more than a dozen cold sword lights in the void. The guards didn't even have a chance to react before their bodies exploded on the spot. After killing 6 guards, Yu Wanqiu leaped into the outer courtyard. Before her feet touched the ground, the flexible sword in her hand danced like a flower. A chaotic sound came from the inner courtyard. The cultivators who were showing off their treasures to each other suddenly realized that an enemy had launched a sneak attack. However, most of the cultivators reacted too late. Before the shock on their faces could fade, they fell into a pool of blood. A few true spirit realm cultivators were injured and escaped. It seemed that they had gone to report to the sect's elders and sect master. Qin Feng did not stop them. He had come here to kill God's Finger and the sect's elders. As long as those powerful cultivators were killed, this so-called 5-star sect, God's Finger, would become an empty shell. It would naturally perish on the divine continent. When the remaining disciples came to their senses, they immediately launched a counterattack against Yu Wanqiu. Unfortunately, Yu Wanqiu had already reached the peak of the true spirit realm, and the highest realm among those disciples was only at the late stage of the true spirit realm. They were no match for her. In less than the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, blood flowed like a river in the outer courtyard. Some low-level cultivators did not even have the courage to make a move and had long escaped to who knows where. Insolent ants! How dare you cause trouble at my God's Finger? Die! An angry roar came from the sky above the inner courtyard, accompanied by a huge palm print falling from the sky. Yu Wanqiu immediately thrust her sword at the incoming palm print, but she only heard a loud explosion. The palm print did not break. Yu Wanqiu did not have enough time to thrust her sword a second time. The palm print suddenly sped up and fell. Yu Wanqiu frowned. She suddenly felt that her movements had become strenuous. She did not even have time to escape. The loud explosion rumbled in her ears. Yu Wanqiu suddenly opened her eyes and realized that she was not injured. A familiar tall figure had unknowingly appeared in front of her. Qin Feng had just casually thrust his spear into the void, and the ferocious palm print instantly exploded. The disciples who remained in the outer courtyard were stunned by this scene. They naturally recognized the voice of the person who had come. It was God's Finger's #1 elder, Xinqian. They did not expect that the great elder's attack would be easily broken by the enemy. Who are you? Why did you cause trouble at my God's Finger? A black figure landed on a building in the outer courtyard. His body seemed to be surrounded by light and mist, so his appearance could not be seen clearly. Qin Feng could tell that the other party was a 4th-stage void god expert. He immediately realized that this guy was not God's Finger, so he did not take him seriously. He had come here ferociously, and the only enemy he had to worry about was God's Finger. You don't even know who I am, yet you still have the nerve to put me on the wanted list? Qin Feng sneered. The old man on the roof suddenly raised his voice. You are Qiao Feng? Without waiting for Qin Feng's reply, he continued. As expected, it is Xiao Feng. I felt that you looked familiar earlier, so I did not think too much about it. I never thought that you would dare to come and walk into our trap. You are exactly what I wanted. However, halfway through his laughter, Xinqian's tone changed again. Huh! According to God's finger, you are just a Buddha light ant. How did you become a sixth-stage true spirit? How did you block my palm? Chapter 1908. This old man didn't look like the great elders of ordinary five-star sections. He talked too much and didn't give off the vibe of an otherworldly expert. However, he could not be blamed for this, as the shock that Qin Fen brought him was too great. According to what little Elder Shinshuhan had said 3 months ago, Qin Fen was only at the Buddha light realm, so how did he suddenly reach the middle stage of the true spirit realm? If I told you that when Shinsu Hen saw me, I was indeed at the 7 changes of Buddha's light. Then, after exploring the 13 palaces, I found an opportunity to break through to level 6 true spirit. Would you believe me? Qin Feng said. Xinqian cursed. Humph! Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? Even the number 1 genius cultivator of the South Flat State wouldn't be able to reach true spirit level 6 from Buddhist light level 7 in just 3 months. Qin Feng revealed a playful expression. Isn't that it? Why are you asking so many questions? Xinqian felt like he had been played. Qin Feng had used such a low-level lie to deceive him. However, he never would have thought that Qin Feng was telling the truth. Seeing that Xinqian was about to attack, Qin Feng said, Let me tell you something else. I killed Xinshuhan, Shinmou, and Xinwu Xing. Rumble. Xinqian struck out with his palm, but his attack came to a deadlock halfway through. His palm seemed ferocious, but it wasn't as powerful as the one he'd used on Yuanqiu. He looked at Qin Feng in disbelief. Junior brother Shinmou also died at his hands? Xinqian found it hard to believe. But in the next second, he had no choice but to accept this fact. A powerful killing intent assaulted him, and he only felt his body suddenly stiffen for a moment before he was knocked to the ground by the spear light. Realm? You actually comprehended the realm? This was the question that arose in Xinqian's mind when he fell to the ground. The disciples of God's finger had no idea what the realm was. They were stunned by the scene before them. The divine migration elder lost? How is this possible? Not only was he defeated, but he was also injured by his opponent with a single move. Who is that young fellow? Is the finger of God going to be destroyed? Everyone, don't talk nonsense. The sect master is currently in seclusion. When he finds out about the situation in the sect, he will definitely come out to kill that brat. The discussions were like a tide. Just Qin Feng's strength alone was enough to make everyone in the 5-star sect panic. Qin Feng's spear fell, but he didn't chase after Xinqian. Instead, he revealed a thoughtful expression as he recalled the consecutive strikes of the dragon tremor's spear that he had used his divine sense and quintessential essence to activate. He had a new understanding. Even if his current divine sense attack couldn't kill a middle empty god realm expert, it could trap him. The moment he was trapped was enough for Qin Feng to kill or severely injure him. Of course, Xinqian didn't know what Qin Feng was thinking. If he knew that Qin Feng was using his battle to comprehend a cultivation technique, he would definitely be angered to death. That spear strike was indeed ferocious, but it had only caused moderate damage to Soul's Shift. After swallowing a bottle of pills, Soul's Shift immediately leaped back to the roof where he had been standing. No wonder you were able to kill junior brother Shinmou. So it turns out that you have a spiritual sense attack magic treasure. Xinqian had already calmed down a lot. However, he was still wrong. He did not believe that Qin Feng, who was only a true spirit cultivator, could comprehend the existence of the realm, and even cultivate the realm to the small success stage. Qin Feng couldn't be bothered to explain. After condensing his spiritual sense, he stabbed out with his spear again. This time, Shini was prepared. When Qin Fen sent out his divine sense, Shini also shot out his divine sense. When the two powerful divine senses collided, the others didn't notice, but the two of them felt a violent collision in their divine sense seas. Directly using spiritual sense to collide was a very brutal method. One had to know that even in the South Flat Continent, there were no pills that could repair the spiritual sense. However, Qin Feng didn't care about this. He had a few pills that could repair spiritual sense and spiritual sense. After the spiritual sense collision, he immediately swallowed a fragrant consciousness pill. Ha ha! What are you pretending for? The South Flat Continent doesn't have any pills that can repair spiritual sense. Why do you have to do this? Xinqian mocked, but he was extremely shocked. He didn't expect Qin Feng to have such a powerful spiritual sense Dharma treasure. Even he couldn't withstand the spiritual sense attack. In fact, his spiritual sense was even more seriously injured, but he was pretending to be calm. At least on the surface, he couldn't lose to Qin Feng. His pretense was somewhat effective. At least in the eyes of the Divine Finger disciples, Qin Feng had taken a pill to heal his injuries after the collision, while Xinqian Grand Elder was fine. Ha ha! Like I said, Xinqian Grand Elder only underestimated his opponent. When he explodes, that kid won't be able to stand a chance. Xinqian Grand Elder is an ultimate god who has stepped into empty god realm level 4. Not many people in the entire Panshan market are his match. That reckless kid dared to cause trouble in Divine Finger. After Xinqian Grand Elder kills him, we'll tie up the woman he brought and let everyone have fun every day. Many disciples' gazes landed on Yuanqiu. Yuanqiu was the #1 beauty of the Sky Lake sect, and she was somewhat famous in the entire South Flat Continent. When Qin Feng was dominating earlier, these disciples didn't dare to express their thoughts. Now that they saw Xinqian gain the upper hand, they immediately became smug. When Yuanqiu heard these words, she only revealed a cold expression and didn't take them to heart. Qin Feng couldn't be bothered with these ignorant disciples. He looked at Xinqian with a smile and said, "Don't tell me you aren't injured at all." Xinqian put on an act and said, "Humph. I'm a Void God Realm level 4 expert. Your spiritual sense treasure is only SOSO. How can it hurt me?" Qin Feng was amused. "Really? Then I'll try using that treasure to attack you again." Xinqian jumped in fright. That attack just now had caused a crack to appear in his spiritual sense. He knew that this crack would probably never be repaired in his lifetime. It might even affect his future breakthroughs. If Xinqian attacked again, his spiritual sense would definitely shatter a little, which would affect his future strength. However, his words were like water that had been spilled. Xinqian had already put on an act. If he suddenly gave in, wouldn't he be laughed at by the sect's disciples? How could he maintain his dignity as the Grand Elder in the future? "Go ahead and try if you want, but I have to remind you that your spiritual sense treasure won't last much longer. If I attack it again, it might explode." Xinqian wanted to scare Qin Feng, but he didn't know how ridiculous his words were. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately felt a powerful spiritual sense surge toward him. This spiritual sense was even more powerful than before, and it seemed like it was about to condense into tangible threads. Xinqian could no longer remain calm. After letting out a strange cry, he immediately sealed off his sea of divine sense. However, he was still a step too late. Several strands of divine sense rushed into his sea of divine sense and recklessly crashed into it like fierce beasts. Bang, bang, bang! Loud noises rose and fell, but only Xinqian could hear them because they were coming from his mind. Waves of pain came from his spiritual sense. This pain was dozens of times more intense than the pain of being seriously injured. Even though Xinqian wanted to grit his teeth and endure it, he still screamed. "Ha! What's wrong with Grand Elder Xinqian? He seems to be in pain. I don't think I saw the enemy attack. Why did Grand Elder Xinqian become like this? I know! Grand Elder Xinqian is luring the enemy in. He's pretending to be seriously injured so he can give that kid a fatal blow at any time." Only the last explanation made sense. Thus, the disciples of God's One Finger were naively waiting for Grand Elder's fatal blow. However, after waiting for a long time, all they heard was a strange cry from him. No! You don't have a spiritual sense treasure. Did you cultivate a spiritual sense technique? When Xinqian realized the truth, he looked as if he had seen a ghost. Everyone knew how rare and precious a divine sense cultivation technique was. In the entire South Flat continent, there wasn't a single sect that cultivated a divine sense cultivation technique. Moreover, one could only strengthen their divine sense after breaking through to the nihility god realm and could only use normal divine sense attacks after reaching the body condensation stage. However, Qin Feng was only at the middle stage of the true spirit realm, yet he had cultivated his divine sense cultivation technique to such a powerful level. The disciples of God's One Finger finally realized that Grand Elder Xinqian wasn't luring the enemy. He was about to be killed by the enemy. That guy actually has a spiritual sense technique? It seems like Grand Elder Xinqian isn't that guy's match. If the sect leader of God's One Finger doesn't come out, God's One Finger will be destroyed. As if to prove the disciples' speculation, a loud noise echoed in the sky. Xinqian's body exploded. After a while, not even his complete body could be seen. Where did this ant come from? Stop it! When Xinqian's clone and divine soul exploded, an old and furious roar came from the depths of the sect. Qin Feng realized that God's One Finger had come out of his closed-door cultivation. He thought to himself that it was too late. The sect leader has come. That's great. God's One Finger is saved. We won't die. The cultivators of the outer court cheered up again. It was as if God's One Finger was an invincible existence in their hearts. However, the sect leader of a 5-star sect was indeed powerful. He had only summoned 2 clones, but they had already given Qin Feng a strong sense of crisis. Qin Feng didn't have much time to think, so he immediately summoned the green dragon cauldron. The cauldron spun, and overlapping cauldron shadows shrouded Qin Feng's body. When one of the clones collided with the cauldron shadows, a loud noise rang out. The other clone charged at Yuanqiu. Yuanqiu's expression changed drastically. She instantly sensed the danger of death. She thrust the soft sword in her hand into the air. It seemed like a gentle and weak move, but a dozen cold rays of light cut through the air, bringing with them a sharp whistling sound. Rumble! The sword she kept colliding with the clone, but it didn't repel it. Just as the clone's palm was about to hit Yuanqiu, a silver ray appeared in front of her to block it. The dragon-trembling spear's power was ferocious, but it only made the clone pause for a moment. Yuanqiu took advantage of the opportunity to escape, and Qin Feng also caught his breath. After exchanging blows, it seemed to be a draw. However, Qin Feng and Yuanqiu's expressions were extremely grave. They both knew that these were only 2 clones of God's One Finger. The real attack had yet to begin. You are Qiao Feng? A black shadow had appeared out of nowhere. It floated in the air like a mist, and even its appearance couldn't be seen clearly. Chapter 1909. You are God's Finger? Qin Feng was sure that this person was God's Finger, but he still had to ask. Humph! Do you think you can shout my name? Don't think that you can destroy my God's Finger just because you killed Xinqian. With me here, even if there were 10 of you, you would still die a horrible death. Qin Feng wasn't in the mood to argue with him. He was checking God's Finger's cultivation. This old monster was already at Nihility God Stage 9, and his aura was unstable. It seemed like he was breaking through to the body condensation realm, but was interrupted by him. Qin Feng couldn't help but feel fear. Luckily he came at the right time. If he came a few days later and God's Finger entered the body condensation realm, he wouldn't be his opponent even if he used all his trump cards. However, the Nihility God Stage 9 cultivation made Qin Feng feel pressured. Ever since he came to the South Flat Continent, this was the first time he fought with such a powerful cultivator. It's not up to you to say whether or not I can be destroyed. Let's fight! However, Qin Feng calmed down in an instant. He was definitely the type to become stronger the stronger. Only by challenging his limits could he comprehend faster. With a shout, Qin Feng stabbed with the Dragon Shock Spear. At the same time, he gathered his spiritual sense and attacked. This was only his third time using this combo, but he seemed to be very familiar with it. It should be the effect of the creation technique. Instantly, a silver glow appeared in the air. God's finger didn't dodge at all. He casually slapped down, and the huge palm print and spear light clashed. The shockwaves from the explosion caused the ground to shake. The spear light dissipated quickly, and the huge palm print was about to land on Qin Fan's head. However, God's finger frowned and the palm print stopped for a moment. Boom! Just as he was distracted, Qin Fan immediately flew away. A huge crater appeared where he was standing. The shockwaves from the explosion flipped up the rocks. It was as if there was a huge dragon rampaging underground. Eh? You actually comprehended the realm? God's finger was shocked. Qin Fan knew it was the divine sense attack that worked. However, compared to the divine sense attack he used to deal with the God's finger, the effect of the divine sense attack was much weaker. Qin Fan knew that the God's finger was caught off guard. If he waited for the God's finger to raise his guard, the effect of the divine sense attack would be even weaker. Looking at the huge hole in the ground, Qin Fan felt that he was a bit rash. He thought that God's finger was at most hollow spirit state tertiary stage. He didn't expect this old monster to be at the peak of hollow spirit state level 9, almost half a step into the body condensation state. I don't care if you've really stepped into the boundary or if you have a soul treasure. You will die today! After a brief moment of shock, God's finger roared at the sky. 9 figures shot out from his body. They were his 9 clones. The 9 clones immediately swept up 9 hurricane dragons. The spectacular scene caused the crowd to cry out in surprise. Oh my God! 9 clones. Sect Master One Finger has already reached Nihility God Realm level 9. I feel that the sect leader's aura is a little chaotic. It seems like he was in seclusion to break through to the body condensation realm. Our God's finger is going to have a body condensation realm sect leader. Doesn't that mean we will become a 6-star sect? Haha. With Sect Master One Finger holding down the fort, our good days are coming. When the 9 clones appeared, all the Outer Yard disciples were relieved. They were at Nihility God Realm level 9. No matter how powerful Qiao Feng was, he wouldn't be a match for them. Yuanqiu was so anxious that she broke out in a cold sweat. However, she resisted the urge to rush into the battle. She knew that she would only be sending herself to death when facing a Nihility God Realm level 9 expert. She would only become a burden to Qin Fan. Whoosh! When the clones attacked, Qin Fan didn't think and stabbed with his spear. This time, there weren't thousands of spear lights flying. Instead, he condensed quintessential essence into a seemingly solid silver spear. When the spear's tip touched the clones, there was a violent explosion. However, the clones didn't scatter, and the palm print landed on Qin Fan's chest. The collision was intense. Qin Fan spat out a mouthful of blood and flew into the air. He didn't even have time to stabilize his body. The other 8 clones shot over and hit him so hard that he couldn't even land. Haha. That brat is too weak. Xin Xiuhan, Xin Mou, and Xin Wuxing were all killed by that brat. Sect leader, you must avenge Elder and Young Master. The cultivators in the yard cheered. Only now did God One Finger know that his only son had been killed by Qin Fan. A few loud sounds came from his body, and his aura surged. His eyes were bloodshot, and he looked like he was about to go berserk. The attacks of the 9 clones became even more ferocious. Qin Fan kept spitting out blood, and he didn't even have time to eat pills. He immediately tried to launch a divine sense attack, but he realized that these clones didn't seem to have a sea of consciousness. Divine sense attacks had no effect on them at all. How dare you kill my beloved son? I'm going to turn you into minced meat. God One Finger roared like thunder. Qin Fan didn't have time to deal with his anger. At that moment, a shadow clone shot out from his body. He even activated the Vajra arts and released the 5th level quintessential essence clone. This clone was invincible in front of Buddha Light Realm cultivators and could block the fierce attacks of revered True Spirit Realm cultivators. However, in front of a peak nihility god realm cultivator, it couldn't even withstand a single blow. Before the clone could reach the air, it had already turned into ashes. However, it was at this moment that Qin Fen could catch his breath. He immediately circulated quintessential essence and used the fourth style of the heavenly thunder technique. A lightning barrier floated in the air, protecting Qin Fen. The defense of this lightning barrier wasn't bad, but Qin Fen didn't have any hope. Under the fierce attack of a peak nihility god realm cultivator, it would probably break in one blow. However, to Qin Fen's surprise, when the lightning barrier appeared, the 9 clones suddenly retreated as if they were afraid of the overlapping lightning arcs. Qin Fen finally caught his breath. He immediately took out the Azure Dragon Cauldron. The Azure Cauldron shadow overlapped with the lightning barrier, as if it was going to form a solid wall. Master! The clones of the Nihility God Realm cultivators seem to be afraid of the lightning tribulation. Little Pig suddenly reminded. Qin Fen's eyes lit up. No wonder the 9 clones immediately retreated after the lightning barrier appeared. These clones were created after breaking through. Every time a Nihility God Realm cultivator broke through a small realm, they would trigger a fierce lightning tribulation. The clones probably knew the power of the lightning tribulation and were afraid of it. After figuring out the reason, Qin Fen immediately swung down his sword. It was just the simple first style of the Heavenly Thunder technique, Lightning Attract. A white lightning arc as thick as a calf exploded in the air and struck one of the clones. The clone's movements were slowed by half a beat and instantly disappeared under the lightning. As expected! I'll let you see the power of the sure-kill lightning tribulation! Qin Fen roared in his heart, and immediately took out the 100-mile ray sniper. The long spear shot out. This time, it exploded with a dozen ferocious intersecting black and purple lightning arcs. Each lightning arc was as thick as a human's waist. God One Finger was shocked. The clones instantly disappeared under the bombardment of the lightning arcs. They were like paper tigers that couldn't withstand a single blow. What kind of weapon is that? How can it release such terrifying lightning? God One Finger's voice became louder. He no longer had the demeanor of an expert. Chapter 1910. Qin Fen was relieved after confirming that the lightning tribulation could repel the clones. As long as the 9 clones did not interfere, he was confident he could escape with Yuanqiu even if he could not kill God One Finger in the end. Are you ignorant? This is just a true weapon in my hand. Can't you tell? Qin Fen purposely provoked him. God One Finger was furious. He felt like he had been slapped in the face in front of so many disciples. However, he really couldn't tell that the strange-looking thing in Qin Feng's hand was a true weapon because it was a product of Star Saint technology. It was completely different from the true weapons on the Divine Mainland. You're courting death! With a loud roar, the god's finger flicked out its index finger. Such a simple movement instantly shot out a majestic spiritual ether, which turned into a sword rainbow in the air and shot out. It was a silver sword beam. Just the aura of a single sword beam made Qin Fen feel suffocated. He immediately thrusted his spear into the air, and at the same time, took out the Azure Dragon Cauldron's shadow. Rumble! 2 powerful auras collided with each other, causing a huge commotion that shook the earth and mountains. The spear gleam and the cauldron's image barely blocked the sword chi's power. God One Finger's expression changed. He stared at Qin Fen in disbelief and yelled, "You're only at rank 6 true spirit realm. How can you have such powerful true essence?" It was just a simple god's finger, but Qin Fen had used all his strength to defend against it. Even the true energy in his body was in chaos. He knew how powerful a Void God Stage 9 Godly Venerable was, but it was still too early for him to run away. Qin Fen pretended to be calm and said, "Who says rank 6 true spirit realm can't fight against a Void God? In the end, you're still too inexperienced. You're not worthy of being the sect master of a 5-star sect." Although his realm was far from God One Finger's, Qin Feng's ability to talk was much better than his. The Outer Yard disciples cried out. This was the most arrogant thing they had ever heard in their lives. A middle-stage true spirit realm cultivator dared to challenge a void god? Moreover, he was a peak void god and half a step into the body condensation realm. Humph! This brat is still so stubborn even when he's about to die. All he can do now is talk. He can't beat Sect Master One Finger in a physical fight. Lord Sect Leader, quickly kill him and let him know your divine might. Qin Feng ignored the shouts of the disciples. He suddenly realized that God's finger's aura had changed. It had been unstable before, but now it was even more chaotic. He realized that the finger of God was indeed interrupted when he was about to break through to the body condensation state. Now that his chi was in a mess, it was easy for him to go berserk. Qin Feng didn't know if he should be happy or depressed about this discovery. He should be happy that God's finger wasn't in a good state. However, the depressing thing was that the God's finger was already so powerful when its aura was chaotic. If it was at its peak, who knew how powerful it would be? And you should know that on the divine continent, if you don't have the strength, acting tough will get you killed. God One Finger's eyes were cold. Qin Feng said carelessly, I agree with you. Back in the 13th palace, there was an ant called God of Five Elements who didn't have the strength to act tough with me. In the end, I killed him. God One Finger was so angry that his hair stood on end. The aura on his body surged, and it was as if there was a blower hidden in his black robe. Ayaya! You don't know what's good for you. Today, I will tear you into pieces. God One Finger flicked his finger again. He decided not to talk to Qin Feng anymore. Otherwise, he would be angered to death. The void rumbled, and this time, there were at least a dozen sword rainbows flying over. When the sword rays flew over, Qin Feng copied God One Finger's movements and flicked his finger. A dozen white sword rays flew out from his fingertips. God One Finger was speechless. How do you know the 8-pulse godly sword, a sword technique that our sect doesn't teach to outsiders? His words caused the disciples to gasp. Only a few of them were core disciples, and only core disciples and sect elders were qualified to learn the 8-pulse godly sword. Now, this top-notch sword technique that everyone was fighting for was being used by an outsider. That feeling was more disgusting than eating a fly. A loud noise exploded in the sky. Qin Feng had learned the 8-pulse godly sword from Shinemo. He had combined the 8-pulse godly sword with the shadowless sword to form the shadowless godly sword. However, he had only understood the first few moves. Plus, his true essence was not as strong as God One Finger's. The few sword rays he sent out quickly dissipated, and he was injured by God One Finger's attack. However, Qin Feng quickly steadied his body and suppressed the surging blood. He pretended to be calm and shouted, Isn't the 8-pulse godly sword just a lousy sword technique? What's there to be surprised about? You ask me where I learned it from? Back in the 13 palaces, I wanted to kill Shinemo, and he immediately knelt and begged for mercy. He gave me the 8-pulse godly sword technique so that I would spare his life. After I saw the sword technique, I easily learned it. I realized it was just a lousy sword technique, so I killed Shinemo and the others in a rage. Qin Feng made up a lie. His goal was simple, to completely anger God One Finger. His words were effective. God One Finger spat out a mouthful of blood when he heard this. This was because he was so angry that his chi was messed up, and it resulted in internal injuries. Qin Feng was overjoyed. He had been waiting for this moment. He immediately threw out 4 banners. The banners were originally only the size of a palm, but when they rose into the air, they transformed into 4 screens that connected to the sky. They instantly trapped God One Finger. Humph! You have the nerve to use a mere rank 5 position to trap me? Break! God One Finger's roar came from within the ghost face soul banner. Then, there was a series of chaotic noises, and cracks immediately appeared on the soul banner. Qin Feng was shocked. This soul banner had trapped many void god realm cultivators, but it was so weak in front of God One Finger. Loud noises came one after another. The soul banner was full of cracks, and it looked like it would explode into pieces at any time. Qin Feng didn't dare to delay any longer. He immediately took out the imprisonment banner and slashed down. A black light spread out, and it seemed like it would devour all light wherever it went. The expressions of the outer court disciples froze. Some of them were still in the middle of moving. Even Yu Wenchou's beautiful eyes widened. She realized that Qin Feng was going to use that mysterious technique again, so she was instantly frozen in shock. The center of the black light's position was within the soul banner. God One Finger's strange cry came from within. "Ha! Is this really the realm? You're a true spirit realm cultivator, but you managed to comprehend the realm to the small success realm. How did you do it?" Qin Feng didn't have time to answer God One Finger's question. As soon as the imprisonment banner fell, he immediately took out Bailey Guangji and shot randomly. Pitter-patter. Suddenly, the lightning was like a sea. The sky above God One Finger's sect was covered by rolling thunder clouds. The intersecting black and purple lightning all exploded in the formation, forming a whirlpool of lightning in that area. It was like the starting point of the end of the world. Qin Feng was stunned by the turbulent sea of lightning. He only realized that he had shot out hundreds of lightning attacks in a hurry. These attacks were comparable to the lightning tribulation of the Void God realm, and they were even more terrifying than the lightning tribulation. Even the lightning tribulation of the Void God realm would give the cultivator a chance to breathe. Even a peak Void God realm cultivator like God One Finger wouldn't be able to withstand these hundreds of lightning attacks at the same time. God One Finger's blood-curdling screams came from the formation. He sounded like he was going crazy. Qin Feng knew that God One Finger's true essence was already in chaos, and it was even more chaotic under the lightning attacks. "Don't kill me!" God One Finger started to beg for mercy. At this time, the imprisonment moves effect had disappeared. Yu Wenchou and God One Finger's disciples had just woken up, and they heard his begging. They were stunned again. Because of the imprisonment moves effect, these people couldn't remember what had just happened. Everyone looked at the destructive sea of lightning in astonishment, and their eyes fell to the ground. "What's that? Is the sect leader going to break through to the body condensation realm in the middle of a fight? This is too ferocious. What are you thinking? Didn't you hear the sect leader begging for mercy? He was defeated by the enemy. The sect leader was defeated? How is this possible?" The crowd couldn't accept the reality in front of them, but it was all happening. God One Finger didn't care about the disciples' astonishment. Right now, his life was more important than his face. He was trapped in the sea of lightning, and he felt like he could turn into ashes at any moment. "Young hero Qiao, please stop. Our sect's grievances with you can be written off," God One Finger shouted again. The crowd kept screaming. This was like a dream. However, Qin Feng's expression was indifferent, as if he couldn't hear God One Finger's begging. Facing such a peak Void God realm enemy, he definitely wouldn't show mercy. "Young hero Qiao, don't kill me. I can tell you a secret," God One Finger said anxiously. There was a loud sound. The rainbow ghost face soul banner had been completely shattered. Qin Feng's heart ached, but he quickly calmed down. Now that he understood the true meaning of realm, the ghost face soul banner's effect would only gradually weaken. Without the restriction of the formation, God One Finger immediately rushed out of the sea of lightning. However, no one could recognize him. The sect leader of God One Finger, who had the demeanor of an expert not long ago, was now in tattered clothes. His skin was burnt black, and smoke was coming out of it. He looked battered and exhausted. The disciples of God's Finger had never seen their sect leader in such a miserable state. Their hearts were filled with despair as they looked at Qin Feng in disbelief. They thought to themselves, "This young cultivator actually destroyed a 5-star sect like God's Finger all by himself." Although he had escaped the sea of lightning, God One Finger was seriously injured. His injuries were not only caused by the lightning, but also the internal injuries caused by his failed breakthrough. With these two serious injuries, God One Finger's aura was chaotic. He couldn't even gather a bit of true essence. This was the best time to kill him, but Qin Feng wasn't in a hurry to attack. He was interested in the secret that God One Finger spoke of. The secret of a peak void god realm cultivator definitely wouldn't disappoint. Without Qin Feng saying anything, God One Finger realized the reason why Qin Feng didn't attack. In order to survive, he didn't even have the time to eat the medicinal pills. He immediately said, "The secret is about the 8-pulse legendary sword." Qin Feng's body emitted a chill. He wasn't interested in the 8-pulse legendary sword. God One Finger felt the murderous aura and continued, "Actually, it's not the 8-pulse legendary sword, it's the 9-pulse legendary sword." "What's the 9-pulse legendary sword?" Qin Feng raised his eyebrows. "The 9-pulse legendary sword is God One Finger's highest sword technique. It was a sword technique created by the founder of the sect. However, due to various reasons, only the 8-pulse legendary sword is left in my generation. The 9-pulse legendary sword is a high-grade heaven-level sword technique. I'm willing to use the secret of the 9-pulse legendary sword to exchange my life." Chapter 1911. A superior grade heaven-tier sword technique. Qin Feng was a little tempted. Apart from a few paragon cultivation techniques, he didn't have any heaven-tier martial technique secret manuals. Moreover, Qin Feng knew very well that there was a huge difference between the heaven, earth, mysterious, and illusionary martial techniques, and the small differences between each major rank could not be ignored. A superior grade heaven-tier martial technique was much more powerful than a low-grade or middle-grade heaven-tier martial technique. They could not even be compared. Seeing that Qin Feng was a little tempted, God's Finger immediately said, "Young hero Qiao, our God's Finger was one of the few 8-star sects in the South Plateau continent thousands of years ago." Qin Feng raised his eyebrows. He didn't know much about the South Plateau continent's history, so he didn't expect that an 8-star sect had existed here in the past. He glanced at Yuan Qiao and saw her nod at him. Qin Feng knew that God's Finger wasn't lying. "Then how did you end up in this state?" Qin Feng asked coldly. "It's a long story. Young hero Qiao, let me tell you a story. Thousands of years ago, 2 sword geniuses appeared in the South Plateau continent. They knew each other since they were young and discussed sword cultivation together. They were good friends who talked about everything. After they grew up, the older cultivator's sword path became more powerful, and his comprehension also surpassed the younger cultivator's. When the older cultivator reached the body condensation realm, he comprehended an extremely powerful sword technique. From then on, he was invincible and became famous in the continent. The younger cultivator was also very powerful and reached the body condensation realm a few years later. His sword path reached the great success stage, and he became famous in the South Plateau continent. However, with the older cultivator around, the younger cultivator's brilliance was always overshadowed. Especially when the two of them appeared at the same time, everyone would gather around the older cultivator and ignore the younger cultivator's existence. Later on, a beautiful woman appeared and won the older cultivator's love. In the end, when the two of them were about to get married, the younger cultivator came to the older cultivator late at night and told him that he had always liked women. The older cultivator immediately decided to give up on his feelings for the woman. He treasured his brotherly relationship with the younger cultivator more. The younger cultivator was very touched and offered to give up on his own to help big brother and sister-in-law get married. However, he also raised a condition. He hoped that big brother would teach him the extremely powerful sword technique he created. He planned to use the sword technique to make a name for himself. Upon hearing this, Qin Feng and Yuan Qiao's expressions changed. They were touched by the elder's loyalty and righteousness. Qin Feng asked, "Did that old cultivator agree?" God One Finger nodded. That senior agreed. He gave all the powerful sword skills he had created in his life to junior brother. He thought that it would be a happy ending for both parties, but something happened on the night of the wedding. Yuan Qiao was attracted by the story and anxiously asked, "What happened?" That night, the elder cultivator returned to his room after drinking with the guests, only to find that his partner was missing. He immediately sent people to search for his partner, but they couldn't find him anywhere in the city. Later, he found that his junior brother was also missing. The two most important people in his life disappeared at the same time. The senior was heartbroken. He began to search for the two of them, rain or shine. After a few hundred years, that senior finally found his junior apprentice brother in a certain place. At that time, he cried tears of joy, but that junior apprentice brother pointed his sword at him and said that he wanted to challenge him. That battle was earth-shattering. In the end, the elder cultivator was defeated and died on the spot. Before he died, he sealed the 9-pulse divine sword that he had comprehended in his entire life in the place where he fell. At the end of the story, Qin Fan sighed inwardly. It was clearly a tragedy. He found many strange things in the story, such as the junior apprentice brother and his bride who had suddenly disappeared on their wedding night, and the junior apprentice brother who had suddenly appeared hundreds of years later. However, this story had nothing to do with him. It was something that had happened thousands of years ago. Qin Fan quickly adjusted his emotions and looked coldly at God One Finger. "Why are you telling me this story?" God One Finger said. "That senior was the founder of God One Finger, Shinju Qing. The powerful sword skill he comprehended in his lifetime was the 9-pulse divine sword, a high-grade heaven-level sword skills secret manual. After he created God One Finger, he developed the sect into an 8-star sect. However, because of what happened to his junior apprentice brother and his partner, he was not in the mood to take care of the sect. God One Finger gradually declined until it became a 5-star sect today." Qin Fan heard the main point of the story. It was the 9-pulse divine sword. He knew that Shinju Qing had been able to develop God One Finger into an 8-star sect because of that sword skill's secret manual. It was obvious how powerful that martial skill was. "Where did Shinju Qing die?" Qin Fan immediately asked. "Back then, it was called Spirit Fog City. Now, it's changed to Ghost City," God One Finger said. Qin Fan and Yu Wanqiu's expressions changed. They suddenly realized that the immortal treasure that had come from Spirit Fog City was the 9-pulse divine sword that Shinju Qing had sealed there. Qin Fan immediately felt that something was wrong. Rumor had it that an immortal treasure had landed in Spirit Fog City, but God One Finger said that it was a high-grade heaven-level martial skill manual. However, when he was about to ask God One Finger about it, he realized that the old man had disappeared with a flash of white light. He had clearly used an escape talisman to escape. "Oh no! That old man is going to escape!" Yu Wanqiu also realized what had happened, but by the time she finished shouting, God One Finger was already nowhere to be seen. The disciples in the sect were trembling in fear. Now that even the sect leader had escaped, they had become lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Qin Fan did not pay attention to the disciples. He looked like he was deep in thought. He was thinking about the story that God One Finger had told him. He did not think that God One Finger would be in the mood to lie to him in the face of death. If he had made a single mistake, he would have died. From the looks of it, the old man's story was most likely true. He had told this story because he wanted to find an opportunity to escape. Qin Fan knew about Spirit City because he had obtained the celestial flower stones. He had planned to visit Spirit City when he had the time. Now that he knew about the 9-pulse godly sword, he was even more determined to explore that place. When he came back to his senses, he took out the Zhini sword and swung it quickly. The disciples in the courtyard immediately fell to the ground and died. Qin Fan had not planned to kill them all, but these disciples had heard the secret of the 9-pulse godly sword, so he had to silence them. Yu Wanqiu had been by Qin Fan's side for a long time, so she was used to this kind of massacre. Moreover, the disciples of God One Finger had wanted to kill them, so they deserved to die. A 5-star sect had fallen just like that. The sect's disciples had either died or escaped. Even the sect leader had escaped with serious injuries. Qin Fan was not afraid that God One Finger would come for revenge. He believed that the old man was afraid of him after this battle. In other words, when God's finger came for revenge, Qin Fan would be able to kill him effortlessly with his rocket-like breakthroughs. When the two of them returned to White Deer sect, both Xuanzhen and the other two were shocked. Even though they had seen Qin Fan easily kill God One Finger, who was at the early stage of the Void God realm, they did not have high hopes for Qinfen. After all, Qinfen was the sect leader of God One Finger, who was rumored to be at the late stage of the Void God realm. Chapter 1912. Young Hero Qiao, are you guys hurt? Bo Swanjin asked after regaining his senses. Qin Feng smiled. Big brother Bo, don't worry. Sister Wanqiu and I are fine. Bo Swanjin and Yang Tao were relieved. Bo Ti suddenly said in a strange tone. Humph. I don't think you guys went to God's Finger at all. Yu Wanqiu was furious. Qin Feng had almost lost his life to God's Finger. Now that he had come back for revenge, he was being mocked by Bo Ti. Elder Bo Ti, I can testify that little brother Qiao Feng had just killed all the elders of God One Finger. He even heavily injured the sect master, God One Finger. Unfortunately, God One Finger was too cunning. In the end, he used an escape talisman to escape. Bo Ti was stunned. He had heard of Yu Wanqiu. She was the #1 beauty of the Sky Lake sect and had a good reputation. At least, she wasn't a liar. Moreover, whether God's Finger was destroyed or not, this was something that could be easily found out. There was no way to lie. Bo Ti realized that he might have misunderstood Qin Feng, so his attitude quickly changed. He felt ashamed and grateful that Qin Feng had risked his life to help White Deer's sect take revenge. Young Hero Qiao, it seems that I have wronged you. Thank you for avenging Sect Master Bo Yi and avenging White Deer Sect. Qin Feng didn't care about Bo Ti's words. He knew what the old man was feeling. His sect was destroyed and the sect master was dead. No one could calm down. Elder Bo Ti, you don't have to be so polite. The destruction of White Deer Sect and the death of Sect Master Bo Yi are all related to me. I, Qiao Feng, am a righteous person, so I naturally won't let Sect Master Bo Yi and everyone die in vain. After this conversation, Bo Ti's prejudice against Qin Feng completely disappeared. Instead, he thought highly of Qin Feng. Bo Swanjin and Yang Tao were still in shock. How did Qin Feng kill the elders of God's Finger? How did he chase away God's Finger? God's Finger was a late-stage void spirit state expert. The three of them didn't know that God's Finger was half a step into the body condensation state. Otherwise, who knew what kind of expression they would have? Brother Bo, White Deer Sect has been destroyed. Why don't you come with me? Qin Feng quickly brought the topic back to business. He did not want to stay in the White Heron Sect for too long, nor did he want Bo Swanjin and the other two to stay in the White Heron Sect. This was because when he went to explore Coiled Dragon Mountain, Elder Hong Fei of the Ancient Cauldron Sect escaped in the end, and Hong Fei knew the secret of the spirit turtle shell. Qin Feng guessed that Hong Fei wouldn't give up just like that. It was very likely that he would find Bai Lu Sect. Among the 6 people who formed the exploration team, other than Ping Ge and Qi Yang who died, only Bo Swanjin and Yang Tao were disciples of Bai Lu Sect. Hong Fei was only at the Void God stage level 2. Back when they teamed up, Qin Feng found it difficult to kill him. However, he could kill him instantly now. Qin Feng was not afraid of Hong Fei, but the Ancient Cauldron Sect. After all, the Ancient Cauldron Sect was a 5-star sect. After the Great God of Destruction Finger, Qin Feng realized how powerful a 5-star sect was. Who knew if the Ancient Cauldron Sect had a body condensation realm cultivator? Qin Feng didn't mention the tortoise shell and Hong Fei. Bo Swanjin and the other 2 agreed to leave with him. Otherwise, he would have to find an excuse to persuade them. The 5 of them sat on Qin Feng's soaring cloud all. The soaring cloud all could be enlarged or shrunk. At its largest, it could accommodate 1,000 people. However, the more people there were on the flying ship, the slower it would fly. 7 people wasn't a big deal. The speed of the flying all shocked Bo Swanjin and the other 2. They realized that this was a high-grade cultivation artifact ship. South Pingzhou didn't have many cultivation artifacts, and they lacked flying cultivation artifacts. Only 6-star sects and above would have a high-grade cultivation artifact ship like Qin Feng. Qin Feng was just an itinerant cultivator. They didn't understand how an itinerant cultivator could be so rich. Less than half a day after Qin Feng and the others left, 5 black shadows landed outside the White Deer sect. Hong Fei was one of the 5, and from the position he was standing at, he seemed to have the lowest status among the 5. "Martial brother Hong Fei, the kid you talked about is hiding here?" an old man beside Hong Fei asked. Hong Fei immediately said, "Senior brother Hong Ping, that kid should be a rogue cultivator, but he became friends with 2 cultivators from the White Deer sect. According to my investigation, he also got a spot to enter the 13 palaces from the White Deer sect. The 13 palaces and Pan Shan Market's auction have already ended. I presume that kid will come to the White Deer sect." Hong Ping and the other 2 elders nodded, and their gazes landed on the black-robed man at the very front. That person's aura was as steady as the sea, and it was obvious that he had already stepped into the body condensation realm. "Just a 4-star sect. Go in and ask for him. If they don't hand him over, destroy White Deer sect," the body condensation state cultivator said coldly. Hong Fei and the other 3 turned into 4 shadows and disappeared. In less than 5 minutes, the 4 of them flew back with ugly expressions. Hong Ping said, "Sect leader, we're too late. White Deer sect has been destroyed." The black-robed cultivator shot out a cold air, making Hong Fei and the others feel pressured. "Humph. Looks like someone knows the secret of that kid taking the turtle shell. No matter what, find the person who destroyed White Deer sect. That treasure can't fall into someone else's hands." After a moment of silence, Hong Pingyan looked at Hong Fei coldly. "How dare you hide something like this? You'll be punished when you get back." Hong Pingyan had already flown away with the 3 elders. Hong Fei stood where he was and broke out in cold sweat. He was the only one who knew that the turtle shell could open the mysterious door of the 13 palaces. However, he was almost killed by Qin Feng when he explored Pan Long Mountain. He lost his confidence, and wanted to tell the sect leader and get some rewards. He didn't think he would end up like this. Qin Feng's guess was right. Hong Fei had found White Deer sect and the sect leader had really reached body condensation realm. However, that wasn't important anymore. Qin Feng pushed the flying spike to the limit, and only used 3 days and 3 nights to reach Hero City. After more than 3 months, Hero City was more complete. The city's construction plan was similar to the Hero City outside of China. It was clearly Hua Xianyu's design. This was originally the base of the 4-star sect, Beijing sect. Now, it was occupied by Mu Shanzi. Mu Shanmo brought the sect's disciples over to develop in the Hero City. After not seeing Qin Feng for more than 3 months, Hua Xianyu missed him. When she saw Qin Feng return safely, she no longer cared about being shy and jumped into his arms. "Qin Feng, did you find Uncle and the others?" After lingering for a while, Hua Xianyu finally calmed down. She realized that many people were watching and blushed. Bo Swanjin and the others didn't know what Qin Feng was, but Yuanqiu didn't care. When she saw Hua Xianyu and Qin Feng tightly hugging each other, her mind buzzed. "I went to Panshan Market to participate in the 13 Palaces expedition, but I didn't get any news about them. I planned to settle my friends in Hero City first, and then go to Panshan Market to look for them myself," Qin Feng said. Hua Xianyu saw Yuanqiu and was stunned by her beauty, but she didn't feel jealous or nervous. She knew that Qin Feng had many women by his side. One more wouldn't matter. He Chao also came. 3 months ago, he was still at the 3rd level of Immortal Qi. Before leaving, Qin Feng left him some pills. Now, he had broken through to the 5th level. When He Chao saw the friends that Qin Feng had brought back, he was shocked. Yuanqiu and the others were all true spirit realm cultivators. He Chao couldn't see through their realms at all, but he could see that these people all treated Qin Feng as their leader. It could be seen that Qin Feng was extremely powerful even in the South Flat Continent. "Young hero Qiao, who do you want to know about in Panshan Market?" Bo Swanjin suddenly asked. Qin Feng immediately understood what he meant. If Bo Swan was really from Panshan Market, then he could just ask him for information. "Brother Bo, Have you heard of Qin Huang? Qin Feng asked immediately. Bo Xuanzhen thought for a while and shook his head. Bo Ti and Yang Tao were also thinking, but they hadn't heard of Qin Huang. What about Qin Shitian? I haven't heard of him either. Qin Feng's hope was extinguished. He didn't even want to ask Qin Duoer. This was because his grandfather, Qin Shitian, was one of the 9 dragons in China. Even if he came to the South Pingzhou state as cannon fodder, he was still a cultivator who could cultivate. If Bo Xuanzhen and the other 2 hadn't even heard of Qin Shitian, then there was no need to mention his younger sister, Qin Duoer. And Qin Duoer! Hua Xian, you didn't give up and asked for Qin Feng. To everyone's surprise, Bo Xuanzhen's eyes brightened. I know Qin Duoer. She was in the South Flat Continent before, but she was taken away by an elder of the 6-star sect Celestial Gourd. She's most likely on Gourd Island now. Qin Feng was delighted. What is Gourd Island? Bo Xuanzhen said. Gourd Island is where the Celestial Gourd sect is located. It's said that it's built on a celestial island. I've only heard of Gourd Island, but I don't know where it is exactly. Qin Feng didn't expect to find out about Qin Duoer, but he didn't understand why the elder of the Celestial Gourd would take a liking to her. Could it be that she also had a rare spiritual body? But this wasn't important. As long as he could find out where his sister was, Qin Feng could go look for her. He was still praying that his father and grandfather were taken to the Celestial Gourd. But as soon as this thought popped up, Bo Xuanzhen said, Qin Duoer was taken to the Celestial Gourd, but Qin Huang and Qin Shitian shouldn't be there. After all, it's a rare 6-star sect in the South Flat Continent. They have high requirements for their disciples, so whenever they take in new disciples, they will spread the news. It's a way of showing off, but I haven't heard of them joining the Celestial Gourd. Bo Ti and Yang Tao nodded, agreeing with Bo Xuanzhen. Qin Feng was a little disappointed, but he quickly pulled himself together. The most important thing now was to find his sister, then find his father and grandfather. Chapter 1913. After hearing news about Qin Duoer, Qin Feng changed his plan to go to Gourd Island first. However, no one in Hero City knew where Gourd Island was, so he had to ask someone else. Qin Feng stayed in Hero City for 3 days. He was cultivating in seclusion, not to break through, but to absorb the soul crystals from the soul-nurturing formation on the 8th floor of the 13 palaces. Not long ago, he had absorbed more than 200 soul crystals and felt that his sea of consciousness had broken through a layer. But this time, after absorbing more than 800 soul crystals, his sea of consciousness showed no signs of breaking through. Instead, his sea of consciousness became much stronger. Qin Feng put away the remaining 2,000 soul crystals. He didn't know how many more soul crystals he had to absorb before his sea of consciousness could continue breaking through. However, after hearing news about his sister, he couldn't wait another day. After flying for 3 days and 3 nights, Qin Feng passed by Panshan Market again, but he didn't stop there. He guessed that Qin Huang and Qin Shitian weren't there anymore. The ancient Culvin sect and the Xinquan sect were looking for him, so it was better to avoid Panshan Market. Before leaving, Yuanqiu gave him a detailed map of the South Pingzhou. After flying for another 5 days, Qin Feng arrived at a place called Luoye City. This was a mortal city with extremely sparse spirit qi. Mortals who couldn't cultivate lived here. Qin Feng wasn't interested in this kind of city. He wouldn't be so bored as to land in a mortal city to scare people. However, when the flying cloud all was about to fly over Luoye City, 3 figures flew towards him. The one running for her life was a woman. She didn't have any cultivation aura, but she was flying on a flying sword that was a true artifact. One of the 2 men chasing after him was at the later stage of Immortal Qi, and the other was at the early stage of Saint King. Ever since Qin Feng encountered more and more powerful enemies, he hadn't paid attention to such low-level cultivators in a long time. The 2 men were originally chasing after the woman, but when they saw Qin Feng's flying cloud all, their eyes brightened and they immediately chased after him. "Don't go, you guy in a flying ship! If you don't stop, we'll attack!" In this mortal city, Late-stage immortal Qi and early-stage Saint Kings were considered high-level cultivators. No wonder these two cultivators were so arrogant, and dared to rob a flying ship. Qin Feng didn't want to meddle in other people's business, but since they were looking for trouble, he couldn't just leave like that. After coming out of the flying cloud all, Qin Feng purposely hid his cultivation level. The two cultivators sized him up and immediately revealed surprised expressions. "Senior brother, where do you think these mortals got their treasures from? We've been cultivating for dozens of years, yet we can't even get a purple-grade spiritual sword, let alone an airship. These two fellows are good, they're both mortals without any aura, but one has a top-grade flying sword, and the other has a flying true artifact. This is too infuriating." That immortal Qi late-stage cultivator kept complaining. The Saint King cultivator laughed. "What are you complaining about? You should be happy. That flying sword and flying ship are going to be ours." The immortal Qi stage cultivator was jolted awake, laughing. "Ha ha! The flying sword belongs to me, and the flying ship belongs to senior brother. How about it? It's decided then." The two of them reached an agreement. They didn't ask if Qin Fen and the woman were willing, because they didn't think there was a need to ask. The woman had a top-grade flying sword, so she could have continued to escape. Perhaps she could have shaken off these two, but she stopped in mid-air and said apologetically, "Friend, I'm very sorry for dragging you into this. You should quickly take out your flying ship and leave. Their cultivation levels are too low, they won't be able to catch up to your flying ship." The immortal Qi stage cultivator was enraged. "You bitch, you don't even have the right to cultivate, and you dare to say that your cultivation level is low? Wait until I snatch your flying sword, and I'll snatch your body too." Disgust flashed in the woman's eyes. She wasn't pretty, and even in the divine supreme continent, where beauties were as common as clouds, she was considered one of the uglier ones. As for the immortal Qi stage cultivator wanting to play with her, it was obviously just to vent his anger. Qin Fen didn't leave. He said to the woman, "Stay behind me. Don't worry about those two. It's fine if they scram now, but if they don't, then they'll die here." His words were calm, but his words were extremely arrogant. The immortal Qi stage cultivator was already enraged, and he swung his sword at Qin Fen. "Ignorant ant, let me see how you'll kill me." Rumble! A loud explosion rang out. When the opponent launched his attack, the woman frowned. She could see that Qin Fen's body didn't have any aura fluctuations, and it was obvious that he was just a normal person like her. She didn't know where Qin Fen got the confidence to say such arrogant words. But in the next second, the woman was stunned. She watched as the immortal Qi stage cultivator's body exploded, and even the blue-grade spirit sword in his hand was shattered into pieces. The early-stage Saint King cultivator's eyeballs fell to the ground. When he regained his senses, he didn't even think about it, and immediately took out his flying sword to escape. He could already tell that Qin Fen had hidden his true strength, and he couldn't kill his junior brother with a single move. Rumble! Another loud explosion rang out in the air, and the Saint King cultivator exploded in the air. He didn't even know what happened before he died. Qin Fen had killed two people in the blink of an eye, and the woman was dumbfounded. "You're a cultivator?" After a short while, the woman regained her senses, and her eyes regained their calmness. Qin Fen felt that her reaction was a little strange. Logically speaking, mortals would be afraid and avoid cultivators, but the woman in front of him was calm and composed. Moreover, the woman actually had a top-grade true artifact flying sword in her hand. Even Qin Fen didn't have a flying sword of this grade. "I'm a cultivator, and I just happened to pass by this place. I still have important matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave first." Qin Fen didn't come here just to save this woman. If it weren't for the two male cultivators blocking him, he would have already flown away. Seeing that Qin Fen was about to leave, the woman's eyes flashed with disbelief, and she subconsciously shouted, You're leaving just like that?" Qin Fen was puzzled. "Could it be that you still have some matters to attend to?" The woman was stunned for a long while before she regained her senses. She took out her top-grade true artifact flying sword and said, Since you're a cultivator, don't you want my top-grade true artifact flying sword? Qin Fin finally understood the woman's thoughts. Even that immortal Qi and Saint King realm cultivator wanted to kill this woman. He was obviously a more powerful cultivator, but he was indifferent to the top-grade true artifact flying sword. This was very abnormal in the woman's eyes. In fact, Qin Fin was also tempted by the top-grade true artifact flying sword, but he wasn't the kind of person who would rob other people's things. Even though he had killed and robbed people several times, it was the other party who found trouble with him first. The flying sword is yours. So what if I like it? Qin Fin's words shocked the woman again. She felt that Qin Fin was different from others. If there's nothing else, I'm really going to leave. The woman hurriedly said. Young hero, don't go. I want to make a deal with you. Qin Fin looked at the other party in confusion. This woman was obviously an ordinary person, but she actually wanted to make a deal with a cultivator. Wasn't she afraid of being swallowed until not even her bones were left? But before Qin Fin could agree, the woman took out 3 spiritual herbs. When he saw these spiritual herbs, Qin Fin was shocked. Rank 8 spiritual herb crescent grass? Rank 8 spiritual herb purple gold bamboo, and rank 8 spiritual vine moss san xian. Qin Fin sucked in a breath of cold air. In his heart, he wondered who this ordinary woman was. Not only did she have a top-grade true artifact flying sword, but she also had rank 8 spiritual herbs. Even when he went to explore the 13 palaces not long ago, the highest rank spiritual herb Qin Fin found was the rank 7 spiritual herb 3-leaf demon ginseng. He didn't find any rank 8 spiritual herbs. That's right, these are all rank 8 spiritual herbs. Since young hero can recognize them, you must not be an ordinary person. Seeing that Qin Fin didn't directly snatch the spiritual herbs in her hand, the woman secretly heaved a sigh of relief. You want to use these spiritual herbs to make a deal with me? Qin Fin finally perked up. Although it was his first time seeing these 3 spiritual herbs, they were all recorded in the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Pills. The crescent grass was needed to refine pills for cauldron-filling realm cultivators. The purple gold bamboo could also be used to refine pills, but using the purple gold bamboo to refine pills was definitely a waste of resources. This was because the purple gold bamboo could purify spiritual roots. Although the effect was not as good as the tree of life, there were a few spiritual herbs that could purify spiritual roots in the divine world. As for the moss sansien, it was a type of vine that could be used as a material for refining tools. The spirit whip refined from it was very powerful. The woman said, Young hero can call me Aka. These 3 spiritual herbs are useless to me, so I can give them to young hero for free. Qin Fin was shocked. He always thought of himself as a nouveau riche cultivator of the divine world, but compared to Aku who gave him 3 rank 8 spiritual herbs, he felt ashamed. Senior Aku, what do you want me to do? Although Aku didn't cultivate, Qin Fin felt a very old aura from her body. This aura wasn't the aura of cultivation, but it came from her body. According to Qin Fin's guess, this woman had lived for at least a few hundred years. In terms of age, calling her senior was not an exaggeration. Aku didn't deny the way Qin Fin called her. She calmly said, Young hero, I have a treasure map here. I want you to help me find a treasure. That treasure is a secret manual. If young hero can really find it, I am willing to make a copy of the secret manual for you. How do you know about that secret manual? Why do you want to find that secret manual? Qin Fin was vigilant. The woman smiled bitterly. Because that secret manual was originally mine. In fact, many years ago, I could also cultivate it, but my dantian was destroyed. Until now, I still can't repair it, although I can't cultivate even if I find the secret manual. I must obtain that secret manual. It's more important than my life. Qin Fin used his divine sense to scan Aku's body. Although this behavior was not good, he had just met this woman, so he had to be careful. After checking, Qin Fin found that it wasn't that Aku couldn't cultivate, but her dantian was destroyed. What this woman said was true. Why do you trust me? Aren't you afraid that I'll take the secret manual for myself? Qin Fin asked. The woman smiled bitterly again. Because I have no other choice. I don't trust anyone on the divine continent, but after seeing you, I had a glimmer of hope in my heart. You're different from the other cultivators. You didn't try to rob me of my top-grade flying sword. You didn't even try to rob me when you saw the 3 level 8 herbs, so I want to take a gamble. I hope young hero will keep our promise. Chapter 1914. Qin Feng couldn't figure out the background of this mysterious woman, but he thought that she must have been a very powerful person. Otherwise, how could she have a flying sword and 3 rank 8 spirit herbs so casually? This woman was quite pitiful to have had her dantian destroyed. In the North Sand Continent and the South Flat Continent, there were no pills that could restore one's dantian. Once one's dantian was destroyed, one would never be able to cultivate again. However, Qin Feng could concoct pills that could restore one's dantian. It was recorded in the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Pills, but the spirit herbs needed were quite precious and Qin Feng didn't have them all yet. Moreover, even if he had the spirit herbs to concoct the returning Dan, he wouldn't help this woman. After all, this was the first time they had met, and the returning Dan was too powerful. If news of this got out, Qin Feng would probably have to flee for a period of time in the South Flat Continent. Okay. I'll accept the treasure-seeking map, but I have a lot of things to do. If I have time, I can go to the place on the treasure-seeking map. If I can find your secret manual, I'll definitely give it to you, Qin Feng said after thinking for a while. Aku was pleasantly surprised. She didn't know why, but she felt that Qin Feng was sincerely helping her. If the secret manual was found, Qin Feng would definitely give it to her. Let me first thank you, young hero. If young hero finds the secret manual, I am willing to give you a copy of the secret manual. Also, I will also give this best quality flying sword, a true artifact, Akka quickly said. Qin Feng couldn't help but sympathize with Akka. He didn't know what kind of enemy this woman had encountered to have her dantian destroyed and still live. He was very clear about the significance of a best quality true artifact flying sword to Akka. This woman was unable to cultivate, and could only rely on flying swords to escape and survive. However, the other party was willing to give away the flying sword after obtaining the secret manual. This layer of meaning was very obvious. She intended to commit suicide with the secret manual. It seemed that in Akka's eyes, the secret manual was more important than her life. If I find the secret manual, how do I contact you? Young hero, keep this flying sword. If you find the secret manual, release the flying sword and I'll find you. Akka took out a black flying sword. At first glance, Qin Feng knew it was a dark-grade spiritual weapon. Moreover, this was only a messenger flying sword. She actually used a dark-grade spiritual weapon as a messenger flying sword. Qin Feng became more and more curious about this woman's identity. In the end, Qin Feng didn't ask any more questions. He couldn't even solve his own problems, so he really didn't have the mind to care about other people's problems. If he could really find Akka's secret manual in the future, Qin Feng would have helped her fulfill her wish. Qin Feng put away the messenger flying sword and took his leave. He sat inside the soaring cloud auger and opened the treasure map that Akka gave him. The location marked on the treasure map was at the edge of the Fallen God Sea. There was a place called Green Island. When Qin Feng was still in the North Sand Continent, he had explored the God Fall Sea. However, he only went to the outer area of the God Fall Sea near the North Sand Continent. This time, Green Island was near the God Fall Sea at the edge of the South Flat Continent. This was the first time Qin Feng had heard of Tsang Island. Looking at its position on the map, it was quite far away. He could only put Akka's matter aside for now. Right now, the most important thing was to hurry to Gourd Island to find Qin Duo Air. There was also a map under the treasure map. When Qin Feng opened the map, he was instantly delighted. This was a complete map of the South Flat Continent. It was much more detailed than the one Yu Wenqiu gave him. The addresses of all the 4-star and above sects in the South Flat Continent were included. The celestial gourd island was already a 6-star sect, so it was naturally marked on the map. After carefully comparing the map with the environment outside the soaring cloud auger, Qianfen quickly found his current location. It was a place called Southgate City. This Southgate City was a 5-star city, and it was hundreds of thousands of miles away from Gourd Island. If this distance was on Earth, who knew how long it would take to reach it? However, it wasn't too far in the Divine Supreme Continent. Qianfen immediately planned the best route. He pushed the soaring cloud auger to its maximum speed and flew towards Gourd Island. A week later, a huge island appeared in front of him. Qianfen understood why this place was called Gourd Island. When he looked down from the sky, the shape of the island was like a huge gourd. Moreover, the sky above the island was shrouded in mist. It was like a fairyland. No wonder divination Jin said that Gourd Island was rumored to be built on a fairyland. Qianfen was overjoyed and immediately flew towards the Gourd Island. However, when he was still 100 miles away from the Gourd Island, the soaring cloud auger suddenly landed in the wilderness outside. There was a flight restriction formation. Qianfen was now a rank 5 spiritual formation master. This level was already at the top in the northern sand continent. In the south flat continent, he was considered a rare formation master. However, he knew that a flight restriction formation could only be set up by a rank 6 formation grandmaster. The flight restriction formation in front of him had already reached the level of a rank 7 formation king. Seeing the flight restriction formation, Qianfen had a bad feeling. At this moment, a black shadow landed not far behind him and said, "Young hero, are you going to Gourd Island?" Qianfen quickly sized up the other party. It was a gray-haired old man wearing a fluttering white robe. He had already reached Empty God round level 6. "Yes, senior." Qianfen didn't know why this person was looking for him, so he cupped his hands and replied. The old man smiled. "I am Bai Sex Zhao Ziyu. Are you a celestial gourd disciple?" "I am Qiao Feng, not a celestial gourd disciple. I have a friend in the celestial gourd, so I came to take a look." Zhao Ziyu looked at him in surprise. "You're not a celestial gourd disciple, but you want to enter the celestial gourd? I'm afraid that's impossible." Qianfen didn't understand the sex of the South Flat Continent at all. However, from Zhao Ziyu's words, he realized that he had done something stupid. "Why can't I enter the celestial gourd? I have always been in closed-door cultivation. This is the first time I have come out." Zhao Ziyu had a look of realization and explained. "The South Flat Continent's 5-star and above sects don't allow outer sect disciples to enter. Even if you are body condensation or cauldron-filling state, you can't enter 6 or 7-star sects." Qianfen instantly understood. So that was what was going on. He immediately became nervous. If he couldn't enter the celestial gourd, how could he see Qin Duo? He wouldn't be able to take Qin Duo away. As if seeing Qianfen's difficulty, Zhao Ziyu continued. "Although you can't enter the celestial gourd, you can let the celestial gourd disciple come out to find you." Qianfen's eyes lit up. He had been too anxious to see Qin Duo and didn't even think of such a simple reason. However, Zhao Ziyu's next words poured cold water on Qianfen's head. "But it is also very difficult to let the celestial gourd disciple know that you are looking for him. Once you become a disciple of a 6-star sect, it is equivalent to cutting ties with the outside world. You will be strictly controlled by the sect and have to cultivate hard. Even if you tell the celestial gourd disciple, the information will be stopped by the elders in the end. They won't tell your friend in case it disturbs his cultivation." Qianfen was speechless. He felt that entering a 6-star sect was scarier than going to prison. "Senior Zhao, what should I do?" Qianfen realized that Zhao Ziyu definitely had another way. Otherwise, he wouldn't have wasted so much time talking to him. "There is a way, but it depends on whether you are strong enough," Zhao Ziyu said. "In 3 months, there will be a genius conference in the South Flat Continent that happens once every 5 years. I don't need to explain much about it. Almost all the large sects in the South Flat Continent will come. If you can achieve some results in the conference and become famous, I believe that your friend will know of you and take the initiative to find you." Qin Fen was no stranger to the Genius Conference. He had participated in the North Sand Continent's Genius Conference and obtained the title of First Genius. He didn't expect that the South Flat Continent also had a Genius Conference. However, Qin Fen knew that the cultivation geniuses here were not comparable to those in the North Sand Continent. After thinking about it, it seemed that this was the only way to see Qin Duoer. Thank you for your advice, Senior Zhao. I will leave first. Knowing that he couldn't enter the Celestial Gourd, Qin Fen didn't want to waste time here. There were still 3 months until the Genius Conference, so he planned to go to Grey Island. But before he left, Zhao Ziyu said, Young hero Qiao, don't be in a hurry. I am gathering friends to explore the Thousand Insect Valley. Are you interested? Qin Fen hadn't been to the Thousand Insect Valley, but he had seen it on the South Flat Continent map that Akka gave him. Because the Thousand Insect Valley was near Gourd Island, he had seen the surrounding terrain of Gourd Island and had some impression. Senior Zhao, what treasures are there in the Thousand Insect Valley? Qin Fen didn't reply immediately. Zhao Ziyu was slightly stunned. As a cultivator of the South Flat Continent, most had heard of the Thousand Insect Valley. Countless people went to explore it every year. But remembering that Qin Fen said that he had always been in seclusion and this was his first time out, Zhao Ziyu understood. The Thousand Insect Valley is a dangerous place. There are countless spirit insects inside. These spirit insects are very precious treasures. Many cultivators will catch a few and raise them. Of course, most cultivators who go to explore the Thousand Insect Valley are not interested in the spirit insects, but the spirit herbs and materials inside. It is said that a few decades ago, someone found a level 9 cordyceps in the depths of the Thousand Insect Valley. It was also because of this news that more and more people went to explore the Thousand Insect Valley. Qin Fen was shocked when he heard about the cordyceps. Of course, he knew about the level 9 spirit herb cordyceps. It was an extremely rare top-notch spirit herb. According to the Medicinal Pills Encyclopedia, the cordyceps had dozens of uses. It could even be used as the main ingredient to refine the field-returning pill. Actually, the field-returning pill was only a type of level 3, level 7 imperial pill. The reason why Qin Fen couldn't refine it was because he didn't have the main ingredient. If he had the cordyceps, he could refine the field-returning pill. If the field-returning pill appeared, it was hard to imagine what kind of shock it would cause in the South Flat Continent. Of course, if young hero Qiao isn't interested, then I won't force you. Let's meet again. Seeing that Qin Fen still didn't say anything, Zhao Ziyu took the initiative to bid farewell. It wasn't that Qin Fen hadn't met people who wanted to team up with him. It was because he had encountered too many of these things. He had to be on guard. This was because most of the cultivators who wanted to explore with him had selfish and sinister motives. For example, his exploration at Coiled Dragon Mountain not long ago had been a trap set up by Hong Fei. Also, the 7-star array that he had encountered in the mystic realm of the Purple Cloud Valley in the North Sand Continent had been set up by Frost Ginseng and the others. Chapter 1915. However, Zhao Ziyu gave Qin Fen a different feeling. This person only came to ask if he wanted to form a team. When he saw that Qin Fen had no intention of forming a team, Zhao Ziyu left on his own. Please wait a moment, Senior Zhao. I will join your team. After Qin Fen joined, Zhao Ziyu brought him to a small inn on the outskirts of the gourd-shaped island. According to Zhao Ziyu, there were no inns or cities around the gourd-shaped island a few decades ago. It was because of the news that someone found a level 9 spiritual herb, cordyceps, that more and more cultivators came to explore the Thousand Insect Valley, gradually forming the current situation. Surprisingly, the people from the Celestial Gourd sect did not object to the construction of these inns and small cities. Although they did not understand why a 6-star sect would allow businesses to be built around their sect, since the Celestial Gourd sect did not say anything, they gradually stopped caring. There were already 4 people in the room, 3 men and 1 woman. When they saw Zhao Ziyu enter the room, they immediately stood up to greet him. Senior Zhao, you found a new friend. Now that we have 6 people, When do we leave, Senior Zhao? Qianfen glanced at the four people as soon as he entered the room. Although he had a good impression of Zhao Ziyu, after experiencing the sinister people of the Divine Supreme Continent, he knew that first impressions were the least trustworthy. However, Qianfen was relieved when he saw that the woman with the highest cultivation was level 2 of the Empty God realm, and the other 3 were late True Spirit realm. Even if these 4 people and Zhao Ziyu worked together to deal with him, Qianfen still had a way to escape. From these people, Qianfen obtained a lot of information. At the same time, he was surprised that Zhao Ziyu was a young elder from a 6-star sect, the 100 Intentions sect. If even a young elder from a 6-star sect was level 6 of the Empty God realm, one could imagine how powerful the 100 Intentions sect's Grand Elder and sect leader were. I estimated the number of people for the expedition to be 6. Now that everyone is here, I will introduce you to each other. If there are no problems, we will leave. In fact, the 4 people in the room already knew each other. Zhao Ziyu mainly introduced everyone to Qianfen, which made him very satisfied. After a while, Qianfen found out who the 4 people were. Among them, the purple-robed woman with the highest cultivation was called Lu Jiao. She had a tender and beautiful appearance, and a hot body. She was definitely a woman of the highest quality that men yearn to pursue. However, Qianfen could see that she was wearing a mask on her face. The tall and burly man was called Shiryu, a disciple of the Stone Sword sect. He was peak True Spirit Realm 9. Of the other 2 men, one had a delicate appearance with skin as white as a woman's. His name was Huan Jinji, and he was in the 8th True Spirit Realm. The other was a big man with dry skin and thick hair. He was called Reproach and was also in the True Spirit Realm. When Censure and Huan Jinji stood side by side, they formed a sharp contrast. It was quite amusing to watch. Yen and Huan Ziyu. Feng. Qin, Zhao Ziyu said. The Fen Yu. Of 6, Zhao Ziyu. Feng. True Feng. Su Qi. Wu Ziyu Fen of. I of. The 6 set and they left and arrived in 2 hours. They Ziyu Tian Ziyu of the Gu. The 10,000 Insect Valley was behind a green mountain, and it was said to be a giant forest. However, some people said that the forest was only the outer part of the 10,000 Insect Valley. At the foot of the green mountain, there were already several thousand cultivators gathered. They were all here to explore the 10,000 Insect Valley. Qianfen looked around and found that their group of 6 was one of the weaker ones. Some groups even had body condensation realm experts leading them. After that mountain, we'll reach the 10,000 Insect Valley. This is my first time exploring here, and according to my sect's senior brother, the 10,000 Insect Valley is filled with danger. It's not much less dangerous than the 8 Great Danger Realms. Once we go in, everyone follow behind me and we'll face danger together. Zhao Ziyu said. Everyone nodded, but when they reached the foot of the Green Mountain, they were stopped by a group of 5. The 6 of you, stop. A warrior wearing beast skin armor and carrying a large saber on his shoulder glared at Qianfen and the others in a frivolous manner. This man was only at Nihility God Stage Level 2, but he didn't put Zhao Ziyu in his eyes at all. There was a Nihility God Stage Level 7 old man behind him, and from where he stood, he should be the big brother of the 5 people. I'm Elder Zhao Ziyu of the 100 Thoughts sect. I plan to bring my friends in to explore. What business do you have? Zhao Ziyu stood out and said. He had purposely announced his name. 6-star sects were considered large sects in the South Flat Continent, and most cultivators would avoid them upon hearing their names. However, the muscular man with the golden saber sneered and even cursed at Zhao Ziyu. Pfft. So what if you're from a 6-star sect? You're just a hollow spirit realm level 6 ant. Can't you see our brother Qianlong is here? Do you believe that I can kill you with one blade? Qianfen didn't know who Qianlong was, but Zhao Ziyu and the others frowned when they heard this name. So it's brother Qianlong from the Thousand Dragons sect. Nice to meet you. Zhao Ziyu cupped his fists at the gray-haired old man and smiled. Here are 100,000 high-grade spiritual stones. Consider it as making friends with brother Qianlong. Qianfen asked Sherdao curiously. Who's Qianlong? Shi Dao's face was full of anger, but he spoke in a suppressed voice, as if he was afraid of Qianlong. He's a notorious tyrant in the South Flat Continent. He makes a living by robbing people and even established the Thousand Dragon Gang. I didn't expect to run into him. How unfortunate. Qin Fan came to a realization. To put it bluntly, they were a group of bandits. He also understood why someone of Zhao Ziyu's status had to be friendly to Qianlong. These bandits were a group of desperados. The so-called big sects were useless in front of them. They would change places every time they robbed, so it was very difficult to find them. Qin Fan hated these bandits. He lost count of how many bandits he had killed since he came to the Divine Continent. However, he didn't stand out this time. After all, Qianlong was already at Hollow Spirit Realm level 7. It wouldn't be easy for him to kill him. Moreover, Qin Fan had just joined the exploration team. He didn't know what the others were thinking. Damn it! Do you think our brother Qianlong is a beggar? You want to save your life with just 100,000 spiritual stones? The brawny man with the golden blade on his shoulder cursed. Sure, you couldn't stand it anymore and complained. How can you talk to Senior Zhao like that? He's an elder of the 100 Thoughts sect, a 6-star sect. You're not satisfied with 100,000 spirit stones? Do you really think we're afraid of him? The man with the golden saber saw that a true Spirit Realm level 9 cultivator dared to talk to him. He raised his saber and a violent saber chi swept towards Shiryu. Shiryu felt like he was trapped. Little brother, don't be angry. Why don't you name a price? There's no need to hurt our friendship. Zhao Ziyu waved his hand and a powerful true essence shot out. It knocked the violent saber chi away and created a huge crater on the ground a few hundred meters away. Chapter 1916. The Golden Blade Man was stunned. He was clearly shocked by Zhao Ziyu's strength. At the same time, he felt some lingering fear in his heart. If Zhao Ziyu's palm was aimed at him, he wouldn't even have the chance to resist. Qianlong's eyes flashed with shock. Zhao Ziyu's simple palm strike had caused him to feel fear. Although he was already in the late Empty God realm and Zhao Ziyu was only in the middle Empty God realm, she was from a 6-star sect after all. She was much stronger than cultivators of the same level. Black Dragon, step down, Qianlong said coldly and looked at Zhao Ziyu. 100,000 spirit stones per person, 600,000 for the 6 of you. Zhao Ziyu threw out another 500,000 spirit stones without hesitation. He didn't look at Qianlong's group anymore and said to the people behind him, "Let's go in." The people from the Thousand Dragon Gang didn't stop them and were putting the spirit stones into their storage rings. However, they saw Qin Feng still standing there and suddenly said, "You're done with your toll fees?" Not only were the 5 people from the Thousand Dragon Gang shocked, but Zhao Ziyu's group at the foot of the mountain also looked over in surprise, not understanding what Qin Feng was doing. Actually, Qin Feng didn't plan on looking for trouble. He could have followed them into the Thousand Insect Valley to explore. However, Zhao Ziyu didn't say anything and took out 500,000 high-grade spirit stones for everyone. Although this amount of spirit stones was nothing to Qin Feng admired his actions. "Stinking brat, what nonsense are you talking about?" The Golden Blade Man was scared by Zhao Ziyu earlier and had nowhere to vent his anger. He didn't expect a true Spirit Realm 6 ant to jump out and court death, so he immediately became ruthless. Qin Feng acted like he didn't see his ruthless expression and said indifferently, "Are you deaf? I'm asking you if you've finished collecting the toll fees?" Black Dragon was about to swing his blade but was stopped by Qianlong. "We've finished collecting the toll fees, what do you want to say?" Qin Feng casually waved his hand and dozens of formation flags flew out like a goddess scattering flowers. His hands quickly formed an array seal, and before the 5 men from the Thousand Dragon Gang could react, a level 5 trap array had already been formed. This trap formation had been set up a long time ago. Qin Feng had used it to trap ghosts on the 8th floor of the 13 palaces. After the 13 palaces closed, he had 3 rank 5 trap formations on him. In the blink of an eye, a rank 5 trap formation was formed. The group was dumbfounded, but Black Dragon quickly recovered and laughed arrogantly. Ha ha! I was wondering what you were going to do, using a rank 5 trap formation to deal with us? Do you believe that I, your father, will only need the time for an incense stick to burn to split open your trap formation? Qin Feng knew that the Black Dragon wasn't bragging. This man was already at Nihility God Stage Level 2, and the rank 5 trap array could only trap true spirit cultivators. It wasn't very effective against Nihility God Stage cultivators. In other words, if Qianlong, who was at Nihility God Realm Level 7, attacked, he would probably be able to break the array in half an incense's time. However, Qin Feng didn't want to use a level 5 trap formation to trap the 1,000 Dragon Gang members. He immediately yelled at Zhao Ziyu. Senior Zhao, these people are trapped. Do you think we can kill them in the time it takes for half an incense to burn? Once these words were spoken, everyone finally understood Qin Feng's thoughts, and they couldn't help but be shocked by his courage. Stonefish was the first to rush over. A meteor hammer appeared in his hand. He chuckled and said to Qin Feng, "Young hero Qiao, good job. I'll help you destroy them." Lu Jiao censure, and Huan Jinji immediately followed. Although the four of them didn't say anything, they had long been dissatisfied with the 1,000 Dragon Gang. However, because their overall strength was inferior to the 1,000 Dragon Gang, they could only swallow their anger. Now that Qin Feng had created a level 5 trap formation out of thin air, it gave them an opportunity to attack. Half the time it takes for an incense stick to burn is enough. Even Zhao Ziyu flew over. He was a dignified elder of a 6-star sect, but he was being suppressed by a group of bandits. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't want to implicate Qin Feng and the others, he definitely wouldn't have obeyed Qianlong. The situation changed instantly. The 5 members of the 1,000 Dragon Gang started to panic. That Black Dragon no longer had the arrogant aura from before. The hand that was holding the golden saber was trembling. He knew that it would be very difficult for them to break out of the rank 5 trap formation within the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. Wouldn't that mean that they were just waiting for death? Only Qianlong was slightly calmer. However, they didn't know if he was really not afraid or pretending to be calm. 600,000 high-grade spirit stones. This matter ends here. Qianlong waved his hand and the spirit stones landed at their feet. Qin Feng didn't even look at them. He smiled and said, "With Senior Zhao's status, you want to buy your life with a mere 600,000 spirit stones? Do you think Senior Zhao is a beggar?" These words were slightly familiar. Black Dragon was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Weren't these the words he used to scold Zhao Ziyu? Qianlong was so angry that the veins on his forehead bulged. However, he didn't dare to act rashly. Even with his Nihility God Realm Level 7 cultivation, he couldn't instantly break out of the rank 5 trap formation. Once he started to break the formation, he believed that Zhao Ziyu and the others would attack. If that happened, they could only wait for death. After being a bandit for tens of years in the South Pingzhou state, Qianlong would never have thought that one day, he would be robbed instead. "Brat, do you dare to tell me your name?" Qianlong stared at Qin Feng like a poisonous snake. Qin Feng wasn't afraid at all. If he wasn't afraid of exposing his trump card, he was confident that he could kill Qianlong. "My name is Zhao Feng." Qianlong sneered. "All right. I'll remember you. Tell me, what else do you want? It's simple if you want to live. There are 5 of you and each life is worth 10 million high-grade spirit stones. I'll give you 10 seconds to consider. If you don't see the spirit stones, you will start killing." Qin Feng's words shocked everyone. Even Zhao Ziyu sized him up with a complicated expression. Qianlong was almost angered to death. As a famous bandit in the South Pingzhou state, he thought that he was ruthless enough. He didn't expect to meet someone who was even more ruthless than him. He only asked Qin Feng for 100,000 spirit stones per person. However, Qin Feng asked for 100 times the price. Was this brat crazy? Dream on! Qianlong rejected without hesitation. Qin Feng didn't care at all. To be honest, Compared to the 50 million high-grade spirit stones, he wanted the lives of Qianlong and the others more. A silver spear appeared in Qin Feng's hand. He didn't take out the 100-mile ray sniper right away. After all, it wasn't time to use his trump card yet. However, the Dragon Quake spear was enough to make Black Dragon and the others tremble in fear. It was obvious that the silver spear was a true weapon. Under the sunlight, it radiated a cold light, making one's heart palpitate. When Qin Feng took out his weapon, Huan Jinji and the other two immediately took out their weapons and prepared to attack. Zhao Ziyu didn't use a weapon. However, a majestic chi surged from his body, making it hard for Black Dragon and the others to breathe. This level 5 trap formation can at most trap them for 15 minutes. Everyone, don't hold back. Use your killer moves! Qin Feng shouted. Huan Jinji and the other three replied in unison. All right. Seeing that Qin Feng was really going to attack, Black Dragon and the others were about to kneel in fear. Qianlong pretended to be calm and shouted. Wait! 50 million spirit stones! Deal! This time, he didn't say anything else. With a wave of his hand, 5 mountains of spirit stones piled up in front of everyone. Even Elder Zhao Ziyu, who came from a 6-star sect, 50 million high-grade spirit stones was a huge sum to him. As for Huan Jinji and the others, their eyes lit up when they saw the spirit stones. Chapter 1917. Young Hero Qiao, what should we do now? Huan Jinji and the other three's eyes flashed, but no one went to take the spirit stones. From their point of view, Qianlong was a ruthless person who wouldn't compromise, but he actually compromised? This sudden turn of events left everyone at a loss. Subconsciously, Huan Jinji and the other three saw Qin Feng as the leader, so they didn't even ask Zhao Ziyu what to do. I'll watch over the 5 of them. Everyone split the spirit stones, I don't want any, Qin Feng said quickly. Huan Jinji and the other three were shocked. Zhao Ziyu was dumbfounded. They thought that Qin Feng was a greedy person after cheating the 1,000 dragon gang of 50 million high-grade spirit stones, but in the end, he didn't want a single spirit stone. He was fighting for everyone's benefit. Sure, you had already started collecting the spirit stones and said, Everyone, let's collect the spirit stones first. We'll split it with young hero Qiao later. We definitely can't take his share. The other three immediately moved. Zhao Ziyu stood behind Qin Feng, guarding against the 5 members of the 1,000 dragon gang. Soon, the 50 million spirit stones were all gone. Qianlong's heart was bleeding, but he didn't move. Can you let us go now? If you dare to go back on your words, I'll drag you down with me, Qianlong yelled at Qin Feng. Qin Feng didn't take this threat seriously, but he didn't plan on fighting to the death with the 1,000 dragon gang. His goal in coming to 1,000 Insect Valley was to explore. Don't let me see you again! After saying this, Qin Feng gave everyone a look, and they immediately followed him and left. Qianlong and the other 4 took a while to recover. Black Dragon cursed. Damn it! That Xiao brat is too arrogant. He's just a middle-stage true spirit cultivator, and he dares to cheat Big Brother's spirit stones. Don't let me see him again, or I'll tear him to pieces. Qianlong's anger wasn't any less than Black Dragon's, but he was thinking about what Qin Feng said before he left. He didn't know where that brat got his confidence from, or if he was just acting cool. Humph! Break the confinement formation first, then guard the vicinity. As long as those fellows can come out alive, kill them without mercy! Qianlong shouted while suppressing his anger. Qin Feng and the others could no longer hear their plans. At this time, the 6 of them had entered the periphery of the 10,000 Insect Valley. Just as the cultivators said, the periphery of the 10,000 Insect Valley was a vast and boundless forest. Moreover, after entering the forest, there was a flight restriction array. Qin Feng and the others had no choice but to land their flying swords and walk. As for robbing the 1,000 dragon gang, Qin Feng didn't take it to heart. However, Shi Yu and the others were still discussing it. From time to time, they would look at Qin Feng strangely. Young hero Qiao, you really have guts. You even dared to trick a Nihility God Realm level 7 cultivator. You're not a loose cultivator, right? Which sect are you from? Sure, you had a carefree personality, and could chat with anyone along the way. Qin Feng smiled and said, Brother Sure you, I'm really a loose cultivator. It's because I'm a loose cultivator that I have nothing to fear. After tricking the 1,000 Dragon Gang, I'll just run. Sure you patted his shoulder and said, I like you. In the future, we'll be brothers. When you have time, you must visit Sherdao. Don't worry about this expedition, old brother will protect you. From Shiryu's point of view, Qin Feng was only at true spirit realm level 6 and his cultivation was below Zhao Ziyu and the female cultivator. Protecting Qin Feng wasn't an act. Qin Feng smiled and didn't say anything. He had a good impression of Shiryu. After chatting along the way, the few of them got along well. The female cultivator said, Fellow cultivators, now that we've reached the periphery of the 10,000 Insect Valley, I suggest we decide on how to split the treasures to avoid any unnecessary conflicts. Everyone understood what Lu Jiao meant. Sherdao casually said, How about this? You and Senior Zhao are both Void Spirit Realm cultivators, so you can split the treasures 20%. The rest of us are all at True Spirit Realm, so we'll split the treasures 10%. Shiryu was taking care of Qin Feng. Although Qin Feng was only at the middle stage of True Spirit Realm, he enjoyed the same treatment as Shiryu, who was at the late stage and peak stage of True Spirit Realm. Moreover, the other two didn't refuse, which made Qin Feng feel gratified. In fact, after coming to the Divine Supreme Continent, Qin Feng had gone on many expeditions with teams. The previous teams all had their own ulterior motives, but this time, he felt that he had finally found a true teammate. After deciding on how to split the treasures, Zhao Ziyu took out 5 jade bottles and gave them to everyone. According to my senior brother, there's a poisonous mist floating around this gourd island all year round. The jade bottles contain antidote pills. If you feel unwell, take the pills. Qin Feng opened the jade bottle and took a look. With his current level of a level 5 pill king, he was sure that the jade bottles contained antidote pills. It seemed that Zhao Ziyu had no ulterior motives. After walking for a short distance, everyone saw the mist he's seeing. They realized that the yellow mist was the poisonous mist that Zhao Ziyu mentioned. The 4 of them immediately swallowed an antidote pill as a precaution. Zhao Ziyu didn't eat it. Instead, he put up a true Yuan shield. Qin Feng didn't eat it either. His body was already immune to all kinds of poison, so the poisonous mist in front of him wasn't that poisonous, so it didn't affect him much. As they walked into the poisonous mist, Qin Feng's vision dimmed. He soon realized that the poisonous mist could block his divine sense. Now, he could only skin things within 500 meters. He also knew that his divine sense had become much stronger after absorbing the soul crystal. Even Zhao Ziyu's divine sense was not as strong as his. It was conceivable that the range of the divine sense of the 4 people would be even smaller. There's a spiritual mushroom here! Not long after entering the 1,000 Insect Valley, Sherdao exclaimed and excitedly ran towards a big tree. Before he could grab a wild mushroom, Zhao Ziyu immediately slammed his palm, and the wind from his palm knocked Shiryu to the ground. Everyone looked at Zhao Ziyu in confusion and became vigilant. Qin Feng, on the other hand, was relieved. When he saw the spiritual mushroom in Shiryu's mouth, he realized that it was a poisonous mushroom. Poisonous herbs existed not only in China, but also in the Divine Continent. Moreover, there were many poisonous herbs, even more than spiritual herbs. Many cultivators who didn't understand herbs would often confuse poisonous herbs with spiritual herbs and accidentally eat poisonous herbs, resulting in cultivation deviation. Everyone, don't get too excited. That's a poisonous mushroom. There are many poisonous herbs in the 1,000 Insect Valley. Don't randomly pick herbs. Zhao Ziyu's tone was solemn. Shiryu woke up and immediately cupped his hands towards Zhao Ziyu. Thank you for saving my life, Senior Zhao. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would have died as soon as I entered. Bao Ziyu nodded. Brother Shiryu, don't be so polite. Since I'm the one who suggested everyone to explore together, I have the responsibility to protect everyone. According to Senior Brother, the outer area of the Thousand Insect Valley is basically filled with poisonous herbs. We should hurry to the middle area. As for the deeper area, if it's difficult to enter, it's better not to take the risk. Chapter 1918. Because of the stone fish's discovery of the poisonous mushroom, everyone became more careful. Even if they encountered some plants that looked like spiritual herbs on the way, no one dared to pick them. After walking for half a day, the surrounding trees became denser and thicker. Flowers and grasses could be seen everywhere on the ground. However, most of the grasses were covered in poisonous fog. Even if there were really spirit grasses hidden in the fog, it would be difficult to distinguish them. Qin Feng could tell them apart, but he discovered that they were only rank 2 and rank 3 spirit herbs, so he was too lazy to pick them. Senior Zhao, I have a bad feeling about this. The poisonous energy within this forest is becoming increasingly thick. In fact, it is beginning to become corrosive. When we entered the 10,000 Insect Valley, quite a number of cultivators had entered as well. Why is it that we haven't seen a single one after walking for so long? Huan Jinji frowned. His doubts were also the doubts of Tsingyu and Stone Saber. Since the three of them were at the true spirit realm, their divine senses could only scan within a range of 50 meters. Qin Fen, Zhao Ziyu, and Lu Jiao knew that there were many cultivators in the forest. They had scanned the forest with their divine senses and deliberately avoided those cultivators. However, it was true that the poisonous gas in the forest was getting stronger and stronger. Qin Fen hadn't taken any antidote pills, so his body was already feeling a bit oppressed. He had no choice but to use his true essence to protect his body from the corrosive effects of the poisonous gas. The poisonous mist was clearly able to enter a cultivator's body, and there was even a possibility that it would remain in the body. Senior Brother said that the deeper we go into the Thousand Insect Valley, the stronger the poison gas. Right now, we are still on the outskirts. Everyone should be mentally prepared. Once we reach the middle area, I'm afraid we will have to use our spirit armor and Jinyuan to protect ourselves. Zhao Ziyu's tone was serious. Censure said, The three of us are in the late true spirit realm and Senior Zhao and Senior Lu are void god realm experts. I believe the poison gas won't be able to stop us. Young hero Qiao is still in the middle true spirit realm, so everyone should take care of him. Qin Fen smiled and didn't say anything. He was indeed in the middle stage of the true spirit realm, but if it was a poison that even he couldn't block, then even Zhao Ziyu's help would be useless. Lu Jiao nodded and said, Since we're exploring in a team, we're like a door when we're in a team. I'm not afraid of the poisonous fog, but the silence in this forest gives me an uneasy feeling. Lu Jiao said what everyone was thinking. Ever since they entered the forest, they hadn't encountered any danger, and this lack of danger was the greatest danger. What kind of monster is this? Save me, Senior Brother, save me! Just as they were feeling uneasy, a heart-wrenching scream came from afar. Their expressions immediately turned serious as they looked at each other. Let's go take a look! Zhao Ziyu finally broke the silence. The six of them immediately rushed towards the source of the sound. When they were 100 meters away from the scene, they could barely see the situation clearly. Qin Feng, who was 500 meters away, could see everything clearly. The crowd was dumbfounded. In an open space under a giant tree stood a spider. The reason why it was described as a head was because this spider was not a commonly seen small spider. It was the size of an elephant, and its entire body was black. Its forelegs were as thick as a human leg, and the bristles on its body were thick and lush. On the back of this giant black spider, there were 3 eyes, all glowing with the color of blood. Just the size of this giant spider was enough to stun everyone. Zhao Ziyu immediately slashed out with her sword, and a white light cut the black mist in half. Brother Fei, are you all right? It seemed that Zhao Ziyu knew the man who had been attacked. Unfortunately, the man had already fallen into a pool of green liquid. His body was bubbling from the corrosion, and he was clearly dead. Another black shadow rushed over and said to Zhao Ziyu, Senior Zhao, junior brother has unfortunately died. This blood-eye poison spider is too powerful, let's not fight it. Zhao Ziyu looked at the dead man with regret and immediately flew away. I'll lure the spider away, you guys run first. When Zhao Ziyu and the blood-eye poison spider disappeared into the yellow mist, the crowd came to their senses. Blood-eye poison spider? What kind of beast is that? This is the first time I've heard of it. Stonefish's voice trembled. It was evident that he was frightened by the giant spider. Lu Jiao's expression was not calm as she said seriously. That's not a normal beast, it's a species mutated by the poisonous gas. Let's hurry and leave this place. That blood-eye poison spider's strength is comparable to the late stage of the Hollow God realm. The others all gasped. A late-stage Hollow God realm poisonous beast? This danger was too much. After all, this was only the outer area of the Thousand Insect Valley, but there was already a late-stage Hollow God realm poisonous beast. If they were to enter the middle area, who knows what kind of danger they would encounter. The rescued man flew down and landed in front of them. He cupped his fists and said, I'm Fei Qing's little elder Fei Jiang. I'm going back to Fei Qing immediately. I hope fellow Taoists can thank Senior Zhao for me. Huanjin and the others were shocked. This person's background was not simple. Lu Jiao cupped her fists and said, so it's the Six-Star City's elder Fei City. Senior Fei, don't worry, I will help you pass on your thanks. All right. I'll go first. This Thousand Insect Valley is scarier than I imagine. I advise you guys to leave as soon as possible. Fei Jiang's voice was still echoing in the air, but his figure had already disappeared. The group was stunned and didn't know what to do. Qin Fen looked at the direction where Zhao Ziyu disappeared and started to worry. That blood-eye poison spider's strength was comparable to a late-stage Hollow God realm cultivator. Plus, its body was full of poison. I'll go help Senior Zhao. Everyone just wait here. Don't come over. Qin Fen instantly disappeared into the poison mist. When the four came back to their senses, they revealed shocked expressions. Young hero Qiao is only a middle-stage true spirit realm cultivator, but he actually killed his way over? This Qiao Feng is really to my liking. I also want to go help. Sure, you picked up his meteor hammer and was about to chase. Lu Jiao hurriedly stopped him. Now is not the time to be loyal. That blood-eyed venomous spider has the strength of a late nihility god realm cultivator. I believe that Senior Zhao can escape by himself. If we rush over, we will only be a burden to him. That Qiao Feng is too reckless. Sure, you stopped and felt that Lu Jiao's words were very reasonable. Fei Yi and Huanjin Ji had anxious expressions. They were clearly as worried as Shiyu, but they knew that if they went, they would only die and drag Zhao Ziyu down. After leaving the range of Lu Jiao's and the others' divine sense, Qin Fen immediately sped up. Although he was only at True Spirit Realm 6, his true essence was much stronger than a normal early-stage Hollow God Realm cultivator. Under the full force of his true essence, he was like a flickering black shadow. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Qin Fen caught up with Zhao Ziyu and the huge poison spider. One man and one beast were fighting. It was obvious that Zhao Ziyu had failed to escape and had no choice but to fight with the blood-eye poison spider. Qiao Feng, why are you here? Quickly leave this place. Zhao Ziyu didn't even look at Qin Fen, but he had already sensed his aura with his divine sense. However, in this moment of distraction, the spider's thick and long front leg lashed out. It was like an iron chain whipping Zhao Ziyu's body, causing the air to let out a loud sound. Zhao Ziyu spat out a mouthful of blood. His body flew tens of meters away and landed on the ground, creating a huge pit. That blood-eye poison spider didn't let go at all. Its 8 legs quickly crawled and rushed towards the area where Zhao Ziyu landed like a shadow. Poison beast, where do you think you're going? Qin Fen was anxious. He jumped into the air and stabbed out with his spear. The silver spear light flashed coldly in the yellow poison mist that covered the sky. It instantly exploded on the spider's back, but there was only a series of sounds. The spider's back wasn't injured at all. Master, this poison spider has mutated very badly. It's best to save Zhao Ziyu and leave. Don't fight it, Little Pig said anxiously. Qin Fen didn't have the slightest effect on the poison spider. He also lost the will to fight. However, that spear attack angered the huge poison spider. It suddenly turned around and opened its bloody mouth towards Qin Fen. Puff, puff, puff. Several clouds of yellow mist shot out from its mouth. It was similar to the poison mist in the forest, but the yellow mist in the spider's mouth was much thicker. It even condensed into poisonous arrows. The speed of the mist was also very fast. Before Qin Fen could react, it had already surrounded him. Qin Fen heard a faint crisp sound. When he looked down, his expression changed greatly. A high-grade spiritual armor on his body was being corroded. It was turning into black smoke at a speed visible to the naked eye. Without thinking, Qin Fen immediately circulated his true yuan to protect his body. At the same time, he took out the azure dragon cauldron and spun it above his head, forming countless cauldron shadows to protect his body. However, the effect wasn't obvious. The yellow mist that the poison spider spat out seemed to be all-pervasive. It could actually penetrate the true yuan shield and the azure dragon cauldron's cauldron shadows. The speed of the spiritual armor on Qin Fen's body didn't slow down at all. What a powerful poison beast. There's so much poisonous gas in its body. Why didn't it poison this guy to death? Qin Fen complained and immediately stabbed the poison spider with his spear. Spear shadows and sword shadows fell like rain, creating loud noises on the poison spider's body. However, the skin on its back had evolved into something that was indestructible. Several waves of attacks didn't have any effect. Qin Fen felt a little lightheaded. He immediately realized that the poisonous gas had already seeped into his body. The density of the poison was enough to cause harm to his body. With no time to think, Qin Fen hurriedly swallowed a few pills. However, they weren't the antidote pills that Zhao Ziyu had given him. Qin Fen had the spirit cleansing pill, which had a better effect than the antidote pills. The spirit cleansing pill was refined with the level 7 spirit herb, the 100 Immortals flower, as its main ingredient. Its main effect was to remove the pill poison in one's body. At the same time, it could also remove the poison that had remained in one's body for many years. It was difficult for ordinary cultivators to obtain the spirit cleansing pill. Qin Fen had given Yuan Zhou a few, and she had treated them like treasures. She had planned to use them when she advanced to the Void God realm. Now, Qin Fen was using the spirit cleansing pill to remove the poison in his body. If other cultivators found out about this, they would definitely scold him for wasting God's gift. However, the effects of the spirit cleansing pill were indeed miraculous. When the pill entered his mouth, Qin Fen's body immediately surged with a refreshing flow of air. The feeling of his head being heavy and his body being suppressed to the point of slowing down disappeared. While he was recovering, he immediately sent out a few palms. Several balls of blue flames rose from the yellow poisonous mist, flashing back and forth like ghosts. When Qin Fen realized that his true yuan couldn't deal with the poison spider, he immediately took out the heavenly fire spirit sunflower. The poison mist of the poison spider reminded him of the Yin-Yang elders of China's poison sect. Chapter 1919. China's poison sect was a poison sect. Back then, the Yin-Yang elders had used all sorts of poisons to kill Qin Feng, even bringing out the king of poisons, but it had no effect on him. The spider now also released poison, but its poison gas was dozens of times stronger than that of the poison sect. It was on a completely different level. But soon, Qin Feng rejoiced. He found that when the yellow poison gas came into contact with the heavenly fire, it immediately exploded. It was like a flammable gas being ignited by fire. Blue flames floated across the sky, illuminating the sky blue and forming a wondrous fiery scene. The spirit sunflower burned all the way to the blood-eyed venomous spider's body. The spider seemed to be afraid of the heavenly fire. Its 8 legs immediately crawled, but it was still a beat too slow. A 3-meter-tall blue flame appeared on its back, and a strange cry came from its mouth. Sizzle! Even the dragon tremor's spear couldn't pierce through its hard skin, but it was burned by the heavenly fire. Not long after, there was a burning smell. Qin Fin found a way to deal with this poisonous spider. He looked at Zhao Ziyu, who was lying in a crater in the distance, and jumped into the depths of the forest. Qin Feng wanted to lure the blood-eyed venomous spider away to prevent it from attacking Zhao Ziyu. At the same time, he wanted to kill this poisonous beast. He didn't want to reveal his trump card in front of Zhao Ziyu, so he needed to find a place with no one around. The blood-eyed venomous spider chased Qin Feng relentlessly. It was clearly angered by the spirit sunflower. After running for more than 10 kilometers, Qin Feng suddenly stopped and threw out dozens of formation flags. The array flags scattered like flowers and formed a level 5 trapping array the moment they landed on the ground. He had refined this trapping array back in the 8th palace to trap the spirits in the soul nurturing array. The blood-eyed venomous spider was running at full speed. Its 8 legs moved as fast as the wind, and it slammed into the formation barrier with a loud sound like a car crash. Even the air trembled. The trap formation trembled violently, and a small crack appeared on it under the impact of the blood-eyed venomous spider. While Qin Feng was shocked, he immediately launched an attack on the blood-eyed venomous spider. He realized that this spider was stronger than Qianlong, and this grade 5 trap formation wouldn't last for more than half an incense stick of time. Sizzle! Several balls of spirit sunflower heavenly flames flew into the heart of the formation, forming a circle of flames that trapped the poisonous spider. Sure enough, the poisonous spider was afraid of the heavenly fire. It let out a strange cry under the firelight, appearing abnormally violent. It kept spewing out poisonous fog from its mouth, but the poisonous fog became a good fuse. The heavenly fire instantly rushed to its body, emitting a burning stench. Realizing that the poisonous mist had the opposite effect, the spider sprayed out green venom from its mouth. The venom did not melt immediately after entering the sky flame. Instead, it let out a series of crackling explosions. After a while, more and more venom formed into a protective layer, keeping the sky flame out. This was the best time for Qin Fin to escape. However, since he had lured the poisonous spider to a deserted place, he planned to kill it. Seeing that the power of the heavenly fire had lost its effect, Qin Fin immediately took out the 100-mile light sniper and started shooting. Loud sounds rose and fell. A thundercloud condensed in the sky above the trapping array. Lightning bolts as thick as a human's waist struck down crazily. The green poisonous barrier instantly exploded, and even the poisonous spider's body was blasted into pieces. After waiting for the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the aftermath of the lightning gradually dissipated. At this time, there was only a pool of green liquid left in the trapping array. The originally huge poisonous spider had disappeared. However, in the green liquid, there was a crystal the size of a fist. Qin Fin immediately put the crystal into his storage ring. It was the poisonous spider's inner core. It was obvious that this poisonous spider had reached the rank of a rank 6 spirit beast. Moreover, its inner core was different from that of ordinary spirit beasts. It was probably due to the poisonous fog that caused the mutation. There was a black fog in the inner core that did not dissipate. "Young hero Qiao, where are you?" Just as he killed the blood-eyed poisonous spider, Zhao Ziyu's weak voice came from not far away. Qin Fin immediately rushed over. He did not want Zhao Ziyu to see the dead poisonous spider. Otherwise, he would be scared. "Senior Zhao, quickly run. I used a rank 5 trapping array to trap that poisonous spider, but it is too strong. I'm afraid it won't be able to trap it for even half an incense stick of time." Qin Fin quickly arrived at Zhao Ziyu's side and pulled him away. Zhao Ziyu followed Qin Fin in a daze. Looking at Qin Fin's unharmed appearance, he couldn't understand why. However, after knowing that Qin Fin trapped the poisonous spider, Zhao Ziyu was also anxious to escape. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the two returned to the previous place. Huanjin and the others were still waiting for them. Seeing that they did not run away, Qin Fin felt a bit relieved. "Senior Zhao is back! Young hero Qiao is also back! Senior Zhao, are you alright?" Where's that poisonous beast? The four immediately went up to greet Qin Fin. Not waiting for Zhao Ziyu to speak, Qin Fin immediately said, "The poisonous spider was trapped by my rank 5 trapping array. Now is not the time to talk. Let's quickly leave this place." Knowing that the blood-eyed poisonous spider was not dead, the four became nervous. They didn't think too much and immediately followed Qin Fin. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they didn't run into the spider again. Lu Jiao remembered Elder Fei Jiang's words and told Zhao Ziyu about it. "Senior Zhao, Elder Fei Jiang returned to Fei City and asked me to thank you on his behalf." Zhao Ziyu said shamefully, "I also couldn't save Brother Feijia, so it can't be said to be a help. If young hero Qiao did not appear at the critical moment and lead the poisonous spider away, I'm afraid I would have died." Only then did the four calm down and think. They originally thought that Zhao Ziyu helped Qin Fin escape from the poisonous spider's pursuit. They didn't expect that Qin Fin would save Zhao Ziyu's life instead. "Young hero Qiao, where are you?" Just after killing the blood-eyed poisonous spider, Zhao Ziyu's weak voice came from not far away. Qin Fin immediately rushed over. He didn't want Zhao Ziyu to see the dead poisonous spider, otherwise he would be scared. "Senior Zhao, quickly run. I used a rank 5 trapping array to trap the poisonous spider, but it's too strong. I'm afraid it won't be able to trap it for even half an incense stick's time." Qin Fin quickly arrived at Zhao Ziyu's side and pulled him away. Zhao Ziyu followed Qin Fin in a daze. Looking at Qin Fin's unharmed appearance, he couldn't understand why, but after knowing that Qin Fin trapped the poisonous spider, Zhao Ziyu was also anxious to escape. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the two returned to the previous place. Huanjin and the others were still waiting for them. Seeing that they didn't run away, Qin Fin felt a bit relieved. Waiting for Zhao Ziyu to speak, Qin Fin immediately said, "The poisonous spider is trapped by my rank 5 trapping array. Now is not the time to talk, let's quickly leave this place." Knowing that the blood-eyed poisonous spider was not dead, the four became nervous. They didn't think too much and immediately followed Qin Fin. The four became nervous, but they didn't think too much and immediately followed Qin Fin. Chapter 1920. Seeing the injured Yu Wenqiu fall to the ground, Qin Fin's eyes lit up. He also punched out and collided with Lin Shi's fist force. The loud noise startled the forest, and many birds and beasts fled. Qin Fin had used a special grade Thunder Tiger flying sword fist with all his strength. The hidden killing intent of the flying swords in this fist technique had injured many experts. But this time, before the flying swords could even get close, they were blown away by the strong wind from Lin Shi's fist force. The fist force's aftershock crashed into Qin Fin's body and sent him flying to the ground. He looked at Lin Shi, who was standing there motionlessly, and a playful smile appeared on his face. After Qin Fin landed on the ground, he didn't even care about his injured body. He was shocked. The reason why he clashed with Lin Shi was to test the strength of a middle-stage Nihility God Realm cultivator. But after that punch, Qin Fin realized that his opponent was not as simple as an ordinary middle-stage Nihility God Realm cultivator. His strength was almost on par with a late-stage Nihility God Realm expert. Soon, Qin Fin understood. Since Lin Shi was one of the top 10 young masters of the South Flat Continent, his strength was naturally at the top among his peers. How could he compare him to an ordinary middle-stage Nihility God Realm cultivator? After understanding this, Qin Fin didn't dare to hold back. He had originally planned to use Lin Shi to practice, and maybe he could gain some new insights in the fierce battle. But now, he no longer had any thoughts of holding back. Facing such a powerful expert, he might lose his life if he relaxed even a little. Seeing Qin Fin fall to the ground again, Lin Shi completely disregarded him. He couldn't even understand where such a weak true spirit cultivator got the courage to snatch the spirit herb he wanted. But before his smile could fully bloom, it suddenly froze on his face. A black light suddenly appeared, as if it had instantly swallowed up all the light in the surroundings. Within that black light, a strange energy fluctuation rippled. The speed at which this black light spread was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had already spread to a radius of 10 miles. Qin Fin stood in the center of the black light, holding a dazzling long saber. When the confinement attack landed, the air within a radius of 10 miles froze. The boundary appeared again, and Qin Fin had a basic understanding of the existence of the boundary. When the black light filled the air, he felt that he was the ruler of this world. Anyone who entered the boundary was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Lin Shi's white robe was a stark contrast against the black light. The smile on his face was gone, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Even though he was a disciple of a 7-star sect, Gu Xiaoyao, he was unable to accept the fact that Qin Feng, who was only at level 4 of the true spirit realm, had created a realm. Realm was something that only hollow spirit state cultivators could comprehend. Moreover, only hollow spirit state cultivators with outstanding perception could touch the threshold of realm. Even Lin Shi, one of the 10 great young masters of the South Flat Continent, only managed to grasp a fragment of realm when he stepped into the middle hollow spirit state. Even Lin Shi was unable to use his realm, or it could be said that the power of his realm was too weak. Even a late-stage true spirit cultivator wouldn't be able to control it. Looking at the endless black light in front of him, it could be seen that Qin Fin's realm had already reached the initial stage. You've actually achieved the initial stage? How did you do it? Which sect are you a disciple of? Are you from a 9-star sect in the East Field continent? Lin Shi forgot that he was in danger, and asked a series of questions. Qin Fin didn't have the time to answer him. Taking advantage of this gap, he threw out 4 soul banners. The soul banners shot into the void and immediately enlarged. Finally, they pierced into the ground like 4 heavenly walls. I'm just an itinerant cultivator from the North Sand continent, but it's enough to kill you. Qin Fin purposely revealed his identity to anger Lin Shi. He knew that Lin Shi would definitely die. Or rather, if he didn't kill Lin Shi today, Qin Fin wouldn't be able to stay in the South Flat Continent anymore. Gu Xiaoyao was one of the few 7-star sects in the South Flat Continent. If they wanted to kill him, there would probably be no place for him in the South Flat Continent anymore. When the formation of the ghost face soul banners was formed, Lin Shi suddenly woke up. His expression was so cold that water was about to drip out. His eyes were spewing fire, and the scimitar in his hand continuously slashed out, trying to break the ghost face soul banners. That scimitar was clearly a high-grade true weapon. However, Qin Fin didn't pay attention to the scimitar. He noticed the ferocity of Lin Shi's saber technique. Every slash of his saber would produce a crescent saber chi that seemed to have a substance. However, the saber chi would automatically split in the air. By the time the attack landed, it had already split into hundreds of violent saber chi. Qin Fin even thought that if he didn't use the ghost face soul banners to trap Lin Shi, would he be able to block such a ferocious and exquisite saber technique? After thinking about it, Qin Fin shook his head firmly. Perhaps he could find the weakness of this splitting saber chi if he had more time. However, he definitely couldn't come up with any countermeasures in such a short period of time. The saber chi surged and collided with the 4 soul banners. Back then, the North sect leader by Xiaofeng had been trapped by the soul banners. However, when he attacked the soul banners, there was basically no movement. Now that Lin Shi's attacks were so ferocious, it could be seen that his strength far surpassed by Xiaofeng and the others. In fact, after a few waves of attacks, the 4 soul banners were showing obvious cracks. The restraints have failed? Qin Fin suddenly came to a realization. Even when he used the restraints to trap by Xiaofeng and the others, they could open their eyes and speak, but they still couldn't move their bodies. However, this time, the restraints had succeeded, but they didn't trap Lin Shi. Master, the power of the restraints changes according to Master's strength. After all, Master is only at true spirit realm 4 right now, but you're dealing with a late hollow god realm expert, so the effects of the restraints aren't obvious. Little Pig said. Qin Fin's expression changed drastically. He understood that it wasn't that the restraints had failed. In fact, the effects of the restraints still existed. The powerful strength that Lin Shi displayed now was the power of the restraints. Qin Fen didn't dare to imagine how powerful Lin Shi would be without the restraints of the restraints. Stinking brat, hurry up and let me out. We can write off our grudges. Otherwise, even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. After a few rounds of attacks, the 4 soul banners were obviously damaged. However, Lin Shi's situation wasn't good either. He forcefully endured the restraints of the restraints to launch fierce attacks, causing a large amount of true essence to be consumed. How could Qin Fen let Lin Shi go? This guy was clearly the kind of person who would burn bridges after crossing the river. Even if Lin Shi was telling the truth, Qin Fen had to kill him. Otherwise, Qin Fen wouldn't be able to stay in the South Flat Continent. There was no verbal reply, but a loud explosion sounded in the camp. Qin Fen held a dazzling long spear in his hand. However, in Lin Shi's eyes, it was an extremely strange weapon. It was this strange weapon that shot out lightning arcs incomparably ferocious. In fact, it wasn't any weaker than the lightning released by the Class 7 Thunder Leopard. Crackle! The 100-mile light sniper seemed to hide endless lightning arcs. Instantly, dozens of lightning arcs descended. Before Lin Shi could react, a series of explosions sounded on his body. His white robes were torn to shreds. His elegant long hair draped over his shoulders. His skin was lacerated with countless wounds, and the scene of him dripping with blood made one's heart tremble. This was definitely the first time in Lin Shi's memory that he was beaten to such a sorry state. In the past, even some seniors with slightly higher cultivation levels would have to speak politely to him when they saw him. However, even though his lungs were about to explode, Lin Shi had no other choice. He was trapped by the restraints and the ghost-faced soul banner at the same time. Furthermore, there was also the surging and violent lightning arcs. If it was an ordinary Void God Realm intermediate stage cultivator, he would have long been blasted to death. Ayaya! How dare you offend the dignity of young Master Shi? Today, you will die without a doubt! Lin Shi roared angrily and waved his hand, releasing a green light. After the light appeared, it quickly expanded into a barrier. The dozen or so lightning arcs exploded on the green barrier and disappeared along with it. Qin Fen was shocked. He saw that Lin Shi was holding a green leaf in his hand. The green leaf looked like a banana leaf, and Lin Shi had used it to create the green barrier. Qin Fen quickly discovered that it was not an ordinary green leaf. It was actually a leaf from a level 9 spirit herb, the 9-leaf banana. This spirit herb was very rare and could be used as the main ingredient for many level 9 and level 7 king pills. He had never expected that someone would use it to refine a powerful magic weapon. However, Qin Fen did not pay too much attention to the banana leaf. He knew that the leaf's endurance was limited, and he did not lack thunder and lightning at the moment. There was a large amount of thunder sources stored in the 2 energy tanks. The 100-mile light sniper kept firing, and for a moment, the lightning arcs were like a sea. It was even more spectacular than the scene of a Void God Realm cultivator breaking through the thunder tribulation. When Yuanqiu, who was sitting on the grass a kilometer away, saw the sea of thunder in the sky, her eyes rolled to the ground. She knew that this was Qin Fen's attack, but she found it hard to accept. Under the violent and uninterrupted thunder strikes, even a magic weapon refined from a level 9 spirit herb would explode. When the banana leaf exploded, Lin Shi's body also exploded into ashes. Qin Fen immediately put away the ghost-faced soul banner. There were many cracks on it, so he placed it in the system's 10,000 treasure pavilion to be nurtured. The effects of the confinement strike had already disappeared, and the black light and energy fluctuations within a 5-kilometer radius instantly disappeared. However, the thunder was still exploding in the open space. Qin Fen did not even take Lin Shi's storage ring or the fragment of the banana leaf. He immediately left with Yuanqiu. After the 2 of them left for less than the time it took for an incense stick to burn, 5 figures landed. They looked at the place where the thunder had exploded and frowned. Something seems to have happened to Lin Shi's disciple, a gray-haired old man said. His aura was as calm as the sea. Even if Qin Fen was here, he would definitely not be able to see through his realm. Which bastard dared to kill my beloved disciple? If I catch him, I will definitely burn his soul with heavenly fire. An old man in a black robe was furious. The surging aura on his body scared the level 7 Thunder Leopard, who was trapped to the side. It turned out that these 5 people were Gu Xiaoyao's people. The 2 who spoke were Gu Xiaoyao's elders, while the other 3 were disciples of the same group. Including Lin Shi, Gu Xiaoyao's group of 6 had originally gone on this expedition. However, Lin Shi had gotten separated on the way. When they found him, they sensed that Lin Shi's real body had already exploded, and his 4 clones had also been destroyed. Chapter 1921. Huan Jin knew they were unhappy, but he didn't dare to say anything. Zhao Ziyu said coldly, Jiang Yuyan Qian Bei, we just came to the deeper region and didn't find any spirit herbs. Please leave us a way out. Jiang Yuyan glared at him and said unhappily, Zhao Ziyu, I only want the herbs on those 5, not you. Why are you meddling? Zhao Ziyu's face was troubled. I personally organized these 5 to explore here. How can I sit back and do nothing? Zhao Ziyu's attitude comforted the 5. No matter what the result was, they wouldn't have any prejudice against him. Jiang Yuyan was clearly impatient. A powerful qi surged from his body. Humph! I've long heard that the 100 Intention Sect's little elder Zhao Ziyu is a busybody. Today, I've seen it for myself. But busybodies need strength too. Do you think you can stop us? Lu Jiao immediately cupped her hands and said, Jiang Yuyan Qian Bei, we're willing to hand over the spirit herbs we have. But the journey here was full of danger. We were lucky to barely make it to the deeper region. We didn't collect many spirit herbs. Censure added, and the spirit herbs outside are all hidden among the poisonous plants. We can't tell them apart. Jiang Yuyan didn't doubt Censure's words. They came from the outer region too. There were plants everywhere in the forest, but it was hard to tell which were poisonous and which were spirit herbs. Cut the bullshit. Just hand over the spirit herbs in your storage ring. We don't want the rest. Knowing Jiang Yuyan's intentions, they were relieved. They thought they were here to rob like the Thousand Dragon Gang, but it didn't seem like a robbery. Who would just rob spirit herbs? Speaking of spirit herbs, Lu Jiao and the others weren't pill refiners. They didn't have many spirit herbs on them. Even if they gave them all away, they wouldn't feel bad. Qin Feng, on the other hand, cursed inwardly. He had the most spirit herbs in his storage ring. But soon, he calmed down and gave up on the idea of a sneak attack. The 2-body condensation state cultivator's true essence was as strong as the ocean. Qin Feng knew a sneak attack wouldn't work. Although there were a lot of spiritual herbs, Qin Feng threw them into the astral world space. This space didn't belong to the Divine Supreme Continent. Even true form realm cultivators might not be able to sense it, let alone Jiang Yuyan, who was at the body condensation realm. Huan Jin knew that the 4 of them had already handed over the spirit grass. The amount that the 4 of them had added together didn't even amount to 1% of the spirit grass that Qin Feng had collected. What they didn't expect was that Zhao Ziyu also took out all the spirit herbs from her storage ring, which made everyone feel gratified once again. Since everyone has handed over the spirit grass, I won't keep it either. I wasn't able to protect everyone, please forgive me. Zhao Ziyu cupped his fist towards Shi Yu and the others, and everyone immediately returned the courtesy. Qin Feng was the only one who had yet to hand over the spiritual grass. Jiang Yuyan had even forgotten about him because his cultivation was the lowest among the crowd. Lu Jiao and Zhao Ziyu, who were at the empty god realm, did not hand over many spiritual grass. Therefore, Qin Feng must have taken out even less. However, a voice came from the crowd behind Jiang Yuyan. Huh! What's your name? Why do I feel like I've seen you somewhere before? A person walked out from the Jiang family's group. He was only at the empty god realm level 2, but when this person walked out, Qin Feng instantly became nervous. This is Zhao Feng. Zhao Ziyu stood out and introduced him, intentionally blocking Qin Feng behind him. Jiang Yuyan sensed that something was wrong and asked, Jiang Fei, what's wrong? Jiang Fei stared at Qin Feng and sized him up. Finally, he shook his head and said, Their auras are similar, but their looks are completely different. Their names aren't right, and their cultivation levels are too different. It seems like I've been too suspicious. Jiang Fei retreated. Jiang Yuyan remembered that Qin Feng had yet to hand over the spirit grass. She shouted coldly, What are you standing there for? Hand over your storage ring. Qin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. When Jiang Fei walked out, he was even prepared to escape at any time. This Jiang Fei was none other than the enemy Qin Feng met in the ancient battlefield when he went to the Purple Cloud Valley secret area in the North Sand region. At that time, Elder Hanshin of the Xian medical sect, William O of the Invincible sect, Protector Chongyu of the Thunder sect, Zhang Baishan of the Tai sect of the South Pingzhou, Hu Sui, and Jiang Fei had joined forces to deceive Qin Fen into breaking the Great Seven Stars formation. They had wanted to use Qin Fen as a sacrifice for the formation. Unexpectedly, 5 of them were killed by Qin Fen, and Jiang Fei had escaped. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Qin Feng didn't expect to meet Jiang Fei again in the South Plain region. He had appeared as Qin Feng then, but now he was Qiao Feng. No wonder Jiang Fei didn't recognize him. At the same time, Qin Feng was shocked. In less than a year, Jiang Fei had broken through from True Spirit Realm 7 to Nihility God Realm Level 2. However, when he thought about how Jiang Fei was a disciple of the Jiang family, a 6-star sect in the South Flat Continent, Qin Feng understood. Qin Feng handed over his storage ring. The treasures in the ring had been taken away long ago, and there were only some low-grade treasures left. Even a Buddha's light cultivator wouldn't be interested in them, let alone Jiang Yuyan, who was at the body condensation realm. As expected, when Jiang Yuyan scanned Qin Feng's storage ring with her spiritual sense, she scolded. You are indeed a pauper. What's the difference between you and a beggar? I'll return your storage ring. Qin Feng didn't care about Jiang Yuyan's sarcasm. He was a little confused. Although Jiang Yuyan was complaining, she still took away tens of level 2 and level 3 spiritual herbs from his storage ring. Qin Feng couldn't be bothered to move these spiritual herbs. He believed that with Jiang Yuyan's experience, she wouldn't even take these low-grade spiritual herbs. Wouldn't that lower her status? In the end, she took all of them. Qin Feng couldn't understand why. What a bunch of ants. What a waste of my time. After taking everyone's spiritual herbs, Jiang Yuyan grumbled and took the lead to fly into the distance. The rest of the disciples immediately followed. In just a few breaths, only Qin Feng and the others were left in the empty valley. A bunch of shameless people, bullying others with their power. After taking the spiritual herbs, they still made sarcastic remarks. The seniors of some 6-star sects are really disappointing. After everyone left, sure you couldn't help but complain. Huan Jinji was puzzled. Senior Zhao, why did those people take away everyone's spiritual herbs? Is that Jiang Yuyan an alchemist? Everyone looked at Zhao Ziyu in confusion. He said, Jiang Yuyan isn't an alchemist, and the Jiang family that floats on water isn't an alchemist family either. As for why they took away everyone's spiritual herbs, I don't understand either. The others were even more depressed. Even Qin Feng didn't know what was going on. Anyway, everyone's spiritual herbs aren't of high grade. It's worth it to trade them for a life. Now that we're in the deeper regions of the 10,000 Insect Valley, let's see if we can find some treasures. Zhao Ziyu could only comfort them like this. The few of them quickly composed themselves and started moving around in the deeper regions of the 10,000 Insect Valley. They were in a large valley with towering mountains on both sides. The valley's passageway was very narrow, as if the mountains on both sides were originally one mountain, but someone had split a crack in the middle. The valley's path was rugged, and the deeper regions of the 10,000 Insect Valley also had a flight restriction formation. It was impossible to fly, so they could only carefully walk on the uneven road. Everyone, look! There's a level 6 ancient cloud flower. Lu Jiao exclaimed. Everyone looked over and saw a snow-white cloud-like plant growing in the crack at the foot of the mountain. It made the air there feel fresh and clean. After experiencing so many poisonous plants in the outer regions, no one dared to pick that ancient cloud flower. However, Qin Feng could tell at a glance that the cloud-shaped plant in the crack was undoubtedly an ancient cloud flower. Not long ago, he had used an ancient cloud flower to refine an ancient luo pill in the secret medicinal valley of the 6th palace. It should be an ancient cloud flower. I'll go pick it. Qin Feng walked over. The few of them immediately wanted to stop him, but they realized that Qin Feng was very skilled at picking spirit plants. Before they could say anything, Qin Feng had already returned with the ancient cloud flower. It really is an ancient cloud flower. This is the main spirit plant for refining ancient luo pills. I heard that ancient luo pills are a rare type of miraculous pill. There are very few pill refiners in the South Flat Continent who can refine such pills. Ancient luo pills are very special and can strengthen a hollow spirit realm cultivator's clone. Zhao Ziyu said. Qin Feng had ancient luo pills on him. They were a type of level 5 and level 7 king pills that he had refined using medicinal ingredients from the Medicinal Valley's secret realm. At that time, he hadn't realized how powerful ancient luo pills were. Now he understood that when a hollow spirit realm cultivator advanced to the body condensation realm, 9 clones would fuse and then condense into a new body. The stronger the clones at the hollow spirit realm, the stronger the new body would be. It seemed that ancient luo pills were miraculous pills for advancing to the body condensation realm. It really is an ancient cloud flower. This is a level 6 spirit herb. We finally have our first harvest. Sure, you shouted in surprise. Xingyi hurriedly said. This ancient cloud flower has 8 petals. According to what we said before, Senior Zhao and Senior Lu will get 2 each. The 4 of us will get 1 each. Just enough to distribute the petals. Huan Jin said. I agree with Xingyi's suggestion. The others also agreed. Thus, the level 6 ancient cloud flower was quickly distributed by everyone. When there was an additional level 6 spirit herb in the storage ring, everyone was overjoyed. Although everyone would only get 1 petal, the value of the petal was not to be underestimated. Only Qin Feng was calm. Level 6 spirit herbs no longer piqued his interest. He had more than 30 types of level 6 spirit herbs in his storage ring. After obtaining the ancient cloud flower, everyone immediately became spirited and prepared to continue exploring. They saw a small flying insect fly out from the crack at the foot of the mountain where the ancient cloud flowers grew. At first, no one paid attention to the flying insect that was only the size of a fingernail, but when hundreds and thousands of flying insects flew out from the crack in an instant, the expressions of the few people changed drastically. Senior Zhao, what are these? Rumor has it that there are many spiritual insects in the 1000 Insect Valley. Did we encounter spiritual insects? Hearing that it was a spiritual insect, everyone was pleasantly surprised. The spiritual insects on the Divine Supreme Continent had different uses. For example, the spirit-seeking insect that Qin Feng got from the system could search for treasures. There was also a type of poison-devouring insect that could devour the toxins in a cultivator's body. Zhao Ziyu's expression turned serious. He hurriedly shouted, Not good! These are spirit-devouring insects. Everyone, run! You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.